We're good? All right. Welcome to the first ever episode of the Film Forest, unofficial name, podcast. And the goal here and the mission around this whole thing, I saw that, when you're in film, videography, photography, if you have a camera, there's so many different ways to grow and there's so many different perspectives, right? Everyone has their own unique story of how they got here and especially how they're, what advice they have to help others. And that's part of why, I'm so passionate about it. And that's why I kind of wanted to start this whole thing. And pretty much, I've been doing this for about 3 years. I've owned a camera for more than 5 years, but professionally, I started 3 years ago. I have an A9iii. I do a lot of automotive content, mainly doing video. I started as a photographer, but now I'm kind of growing into doing a lot more different things, just trying to get as many jobs out there. And yeah, like I said, I'm still learning too. So this is it's helping me and it's helping others out. And that's all I can ask for. You know what I mean? And what better way to start it out with none other than my good friend, Robby Zacharias, an alumni of my fraternity at Hofstra, graduated in 2021. Mm-hmm. Thought it was 2022.
Yeah.
But yeah, Robby, I admired you for a little bit when I was kind of even rushing, because a lot of the guys, I told the guys, I'm a big into photography, he's my page. And they were like, there's a guy, Robby, that does this shit. And I'm like, bro, he could have just graduated. We're 2 years after.
Just missed each other.
Cause there's no one in the fraternity. They have Keating, David Keating.
Yeah.
He does that stuff, but not photography so much.
Yeah, he's more videos.
Yeah, he's more videos.
Yeah.
So you did a lot of cool stuff. And what that stood out to me a lot was the way you were able to emphasize motion and people, and you had a very specific style. And that's sort of why I want to get you on this first episode, because you have a lot of different ways you're able to convey both motion and also just fashion and sports. Mm-hmm. So really cool stuff. Do you have a job that you just got off of? What's your most recent job that you just...
The most recent one, or I guess one I'm in the process of right now, is working, speaking of motion and stuff like that, is shooting more basketball content for Nike's New York versus New York summer ball league that they host, where it's we'll call it each borough, although there's two in uptown New York, but each borough has their own park where there's a significant influx of talent and from just the surrounding areas, neighborhoods. So they have each borough go against each other, and it's New York, playing itself, because New York really is more of a mecca for basketball. So, you take some of the best players in the country and you just put them against each other, and the whole city comes out. It's great.
So that's directly for Nike, you're saying?
Yeah, we'll say it's for Nike's community outreach as part of the basketball program. Yeah, so it's not going to say that I'm receiving a Nike paycheck or anything like that, but
maybe in the
hopefully
future.
One day if they're watching this. But yeah, no, it's cool. It's the whole event's Nike sponsored, so you have the kids, they've got all the uniforms of Nike or Jordan depending on the court that we're at. But the crowd is massive. They bring out the celebrities are there. Ja Morant was at the one in Brooklyn last week, or 2 weeks ago now. At this point, there's been other people that have shown out. Nav was at one of the games. I saw Sabrina Ionescu was there.
Really?
Yeah, people really come out for it, so it's cool. And they bring out they have DJs. They got a whole nice setup there. It's actually a really, really good time.
So do you get to have you ever talked to one of those celebrities there, and have an exchange with them?
Sometimes it's a little tough because I'm not necessarily put in charge of doing stuff like that. So they have, the way they break it down is they have shooters, they have video shooters, they have your photo shooters, and they have the people who run around and are specifically tasked with shooting the crowd. People who are specifically tasked with shooting the games. They have just a regular media pit and stuff like that. So I've been able to interact with them, be can I grab your picture, whatever, and then hope to reach out to them later on. But never had the opportunity to be also they're busy, you know what I mean? They're they're getting mobbed by a million people while they're there. So it's a little tough, but I've had the opportunity to talk to a few of them, got to, take their pictures here and there whenever I can.
It's still cool to just be around those guys.
Oh, dude, 100%. Yeah.
That's part of what's so interesting about this career is you could kind of just be thrown in front of them at in any job, you know what I mean? For example, in the city, that's literally where they're at. That's the city's the hub for that shit.
Oh yeah, and you never know who's gonna pop up and where, you know what I mean? And it's one of those things where the world is very small, especially within this creative space, and with the whole, I don't want to say celebrity and things like that, but the influencing world, social media, it's very, very small. So you never know who's gonna know who. You never know who can show up to a random basketball game on a Monday night.
Yeah. Exactly.
But you got to be ready for anything. They'll throw you in front of something, and you got to be like, all right, we're doing this now.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And so you're based in Brooklyn or the actual city? Like, where are you at?
in Brooklyn.
You're
in
in Brooklyn. Okay.
Yeah.
And I know you do work in Philly too. So do you kind of just like bounce around to like those three kind of areas, like Brooklyn City and Philly?
I view like the New York as a whole, like Brooklyn, even out Long Island, the city, that's all kind of one region. And then we'll say Philly's another region. I'm originally from just outside of Philadelphia. So whenever I have to go back to Philly, it's easy. I just go home. I get to see my parents, my dogs, you know. But it makes it super easy because like Philly, much smaller city, a lot less competition.
Gotcha.
So like when it comes to things like, we'll say like I do a lot of concerts in Philly in particular. That's where it's like there's nobody there. You know, like there's nobody fighting for those media credentials. There's no, like the crowds are still, you know, just as rowdy as they would be up here in New York. But as far as the people who are actually working and vying for, you know, spots around the venue or vying for the media credentials, there's far less competition. So.
You know what's crazy is like harping on the media credential thing. I was at Electric Zoo last year, not this year because they like had that whole mess going on. That was crazy. I got a ticket to that, the Friday one, on the way to the train station. They fucking tweeted they canceled it.
Yeah, because they didn't have anything built, right? They didn't have the stage. Like, I don't know how that happens.
You have once a year.
No idea how that happens.
But like, I'm like, I don't even know if I'm gonna even try next year.
Yeah.
Or sorry, this year. It's like I don't even know if they're gonna do it.
No, I mean, I feel like you lose all credibility when something like that happens. You know, like especially something as planned as like a festival where like people are paying like serious money to go.
I filled out a refund like requests on like this Google form they sent out like just now. Like really? Literally maybe like 2 weeks ago, they just sent it from the September event.
Yeah.
I haven't received my money.
Yeah.
So I don't expect to get it back.
But, good luck.
I met a photographer, the one in 2022. I just saw some guy just shooting in the crowd. And I was like, oh shit, like I'm going to like go speak to him, like see what, like, how do you get in that position? And he's like, oh, like you have to be, he said you have to be with a agency. Like you can't just apply as a freelancer.
Yeah.
And like I think that like that's kind of one of the barriers you face with like music, especially is like you have to be like in with the actual like company, right?
Yeah, sometimes it's tough because it's like in music, and I think you see it a lot with other things like sports, pretty much anywhere where it's going to be a ticketed or a closed off event to some extent. You're going to need some form of, we'll say, backing, or you're going to need to know somebody who can get you in there. I have found a little workaround for it. So, and this is like, if you ever want to shoot music, this is the best possible way. So there's, especially on Instagram nowadays, there's a bunch of people like us who are, you know, facing similar issues where they're like, all right, a publication, you know, a magazine, whatever it is not going to sign me. How do I still get in to get these credentials? They start their own, you know, and so then you've got these small little publications out there that are solely designed for creators to go have a name to back their work. And then there's a website called Booking Agent Info. You can pay like $200 a year, and it'll tell you anybody's information that you need to know.
Really?
Yeah, and that's how I get a ton of credentials, specifically for music, more on that end. But you go in, like, let's say, like, who do you listen to right now? Like, what's
Calvin Harris.
All right, so you go Calvin Harris, you type him in, and it'll tell you his agents. It'll tell you his publicists. Yeah, it'll tell you all their emails. And now that's as far as you get. Like, obviously, you need to be able to email them, and, you know, and you can't guarantee a response. But if you stay consistent, like, you email them, you take a bunch of the emails that are on there, you know, shoot out like a quick blast. It can be copy and paste. It really doesn't have to be crazy. And you tell them, hey, you know, like, I'm so-and-so. I'm shooting for this publication. You know, here's examples of my work. I'm asking for one ticket and one photo pass. Wow. They'll handle it for you.
And my dream, like, just been go to a Calvin Harris concert. Like, let alone shoot it. You know what I mean? Like, that would be fucking sick.
Yeah,
dude.
I mean, I still have I can help you. I still have, dude. It's actually kind of wild because it's one of those things where it's like, I do it. I'm like, should I have this? People's like, is it this easy?
But that's what I'm saying. Like in media, it's like you never know who you're gonna be able to get access to. Like you're saying, like you have the guys just like that pull like nav and shit. Like and now you could be shooting like a concert for one. It's like, dude, it's like almost like fake it till you make it. Like if you have the credentials.
Yeah, it's one of those things, dude, where you walk around with your head held high. As long as you look like you're like you know what you're doing and you look like you're supposed to be there, no one's got any.
There's a lot of people that don't.
No, exactly.
You know what I mean?
Oh yeah, and you can kind of pick them out too.
From a first glance. Even the settings they shoot at. For example, like I'll like have the same setup, same lens as someone else, and the products will be like completely different. And it's like that's what's so important, and we're gonna get into is like editing and like how you kind of make a style around shit.
Yeah.
Because you can have literally all the tools, you're just not using them right. No. And like that'll come off real quick. A client will see that real quick. Super important to like get on like your own style I think that's also because like everyone kind of like cuts and pastes shit now.
Yes. Yeah.
So yeah, absolutely. I totally agree. We fucking went on like a little tangent on the
It's
fine. It's good stuff though.
Yeah,
No,
bro,
it's good stuff.
I mean...
This is I budgeted out like more time for like that type of stuff.
Yeah.
It's good.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, you do like a lot of people portraits, street life. I see a lot of stuff in the city on your page, and you have like a nice like kind of palette when you go through the feed, and like your pin posts even like it's good stuff. A lot of stylistic stuff, a lot of black and white.
Yes.
You do a lot of black and white.
Yeah. So little known fun fact. It's color deficient would be the technical term for it, but we'll just say color blindness for for a generalization. But like I can see color, right? Like it's not like I'm like seeing in black and white or anything like that. But when it comes to seeing them side by side, like a green next to a brown, or a green and red, or blue and purple, sometimes for me it's hard to differentiate between the two. So when it comes to things like a skin tone, sometimes it gets a little tricky because I'm like, all right, does this look too yellow? You know, like have I gone too far in one direction? And that's where like something like black and white really stands out to me, because it's like I don't have to worry about that. It takes away all of these little doubts that I have when it comes to the color side of things, and you know, I can really focus on shadows. I can focus on highlights, the more intricate details. Also, I like the way black and white looks just in general. I feel like it has that timeless look, and I think that there's a lady, her name's Dina Litovsky, I think, who put out a really interesting article that I read about how like black and white to her is like sometimes overused. Like people use it in the wrong scenarios, which I here and there on, you know, I'm very iffy. I think there's no bad time for it. I think there's definitely photos that it looks better on, and like you can kind of get away with it in other instances. But
I especially think black and white works for two reasons. Like if you're in a scenario where you really want to emphasize the composition, because like when you look at an image, colors, like everything, it's kind of like a lot of stimulation. But if you like completely strip the colors out and you just focus on the composition, because when you look at black and white, you're actually looking at like how the photo is laid out rather than like, oh, like the pretty colors. Once you strip that away, like you can really emphasize like how you compose the image. So if that's something you want to do creatively, like you want to emphasize on this one, like how it's actually composed, that's a great way to do it, because you kind of lose all that stimulation from the colors. Another thing is if you have a lot of conflicting colors, I would say in your environment, like maybe non-complementary colors that are kind of just like clashing too much, if you just do it on black and white, you don't have to worry about that shit anymore.
No, dude, get rid of them. I mean, I think there's, you know, there's definitely pros and cons to both, and I think that there's definitely a situation for both. But I think it's good to, one, diversify and at least be willing to go into, you know, like if you're only shooting in black and white, be willing to shoot some color sometimes, or vice versa. But yeah, dude, I think you're 100% right. Like it completely takes away everything else to worry about. And it's like, here's the focus, here's the subject of the image, like the real, you know, meat and potatoes of the photo. Like, this is what I want you to see. This is where I want your eye to go. So
yeah, absolutely.
It definitely opens up that opportunity.
Do you think that, like, especially with concerts and stuff, like when you're shooting them, because I know you have a lot of black and white concert photos, and I know that the lights can be kind of like too much going on, and like you think that helps isolate
very much
when you're in black and white.
It's kind of cheating, because it's like, we'll say it's the lazy man's way of getting it done, right? Because it's I'm trying to think what's a good example. So I shot Tierra Whack in New York about 2 months ago, I want to say, and her concert had a lot of different lights going on at the same time. And now for like concert photographers, red lights are your worst enemy. They're the absolute worst thing to see, because pulling like a solid skin tone out of red light, awful. It's terrible. And so you have to, like, what I find myself doing is like you have to mess with the temperatures a lot. You have to mess with the midtones, the highlights, all that stuff. And when you put it in black and white, once again, it just takes all that worry out. So it's like, it's a lazy man's way of getting a good image, I think, out of something where it could be like, all right, it's a little blown out on one side. It's a little blown, like, you know, the blues here are very bright, the yellows here, you know, whatever it may be. Throw that in black and white, and then it's just like, oh, well, now it's just good lighting.
Are there like filters that help like kind of mitigate that like really harsh red light on like skin?
I'm sure there probably are. That I use, no. I kind of just, I go in there hoping that there's no red light at all, and then, you know, I do what I can afterwards. Exactly. But I'm sure there probably is some form. I mean, I know that they have more like yellow tinted filters for, you know, when it's super blue light outside. So I would assume that there'd be more of a blue tinted filter for something like that.
And I know that like in the hues, you can also like change, like if you want the red light to look blue, slide that sucker fucking over. And, like, you get like a blue, now the concert looks blue. Yeah. Or like purple or like green. Yeah. So like have you done that with like a lot of photos? Or
100%. Yeah. I've actually, one of the biggest things I learned so far, I guess 2024, has been color theory. Like as a whole and how important it is. And like I said before, it's kind of difficult for me sometimes. But just learning how it's like, okay, if I have a red image, what's the opposite of red? You know, because that's the way I want to go. And it's like, when you break it down like that, it makes life super easy, because it's like, all right, I've got a bright blue light. What's the opposite of blue? I'm going to turn that color up, and it's going to even things out and bring me to this nice, you know, normal,
like if
color.
you were to see with your eye.
With your natural eye. Yeah. So when you learn how to like break things down like that and like mess around with the hues and then like go down and even into the color wheels, which is a bit more of an advanced, I guess, step from just the normal sliders.
Absolutely.
It really helps, and it's like it'll change. Now I don't do that too much when it's like an outside daylight image. Like I kind of have my own presets and kind of run from there. But yeah, for concerts, you need that, because that's where you can really tell someone who's experienced versus someone who's not.
That last, so like on the right side of Lightroom, all the way down, use classic or?
Yeah, classic.
Good.
Yeah,
because some people use regular Lightroom. I'm like, bro,
no, I begged them to go the other way. Like, you know, Gage. He just recently got into Lightroom for some of his editing, and he got the regular, and I was like, it's okay. It's just, for me, that's the app. You know, like that's the app that you see on your phone, which is fine. It's good for, you know, if you really need something on the fly.
Yeah, I've seen people use the app. I'm like, no, come on, dude, just throw your photos on an SD card, plug in your computer, do it the right way, man.
Yeah, because it's gonna help. It's gonna help. You know, there's so much more that you can do in classic. Yeah, you can't do in the regular. Yeah, and if you really want to take that step, you might as well.
I think maybe people think like classic meaning like older. They don't want to use it, but it's like, no, they literally just have this around for the people that want the extra like length. To go.
Yeah. I mean, I know for a while that was the only option. The Lightroom, like the regular, I guess they call it normal Lightroom now, and then there's Lightroom CC, the classic. So the normal Lightroom it's a recent thing, like as of the last few years. Because I know when I first started editing images, there was just one Lightroom, and it was classic. Like that was just Lightroom. And then within the last, I want to say 5 to 8 years, somewhere in that range, they threw out Lightroom regular, whatever it is. And
so is that like, so they just like the Lightroom, I think the regular one, I don't know my fucking voice. Is that sort of like a way to like streamline things, you think? Like,
I think so.
Like mainstream.
Yeah, I think it's a way to like sort of get it, because I think a lot of people look at Adobe products and they're like, it's very daunting. You know, if you have no idea how an Adobe product works. I look at like the good example. I look at After Effects and it scares the piss out.
Oh, dude, After Effects is like
it terrifies me. So like I think someone looked like they wanted a way to like almost dumb it down. That's a bad choice of word, but like they wanted to go something the average. Yeah, they wanted to simplify it so the average person could go in and still get, you know, a decent quality edit. Like it's not bad. It's not like it's gonna be it's much better than editing it through your iPhone settings.
It's the same thing with like Adobe Express. Yeah, I don't know if you've used Adobe Express. I've caught myself using it sometimes. It's essentially like I would call like Illustrator, Lightroom, and like Photoshop all in one like app. It takes a lot of memory on your phone. But what it does is like it's good for like quick flyers and like little graphics for like social media that I'll use. But I know some people that will take a raw image or even like a JPEG image. They won't even be shooting in RAW. And if their camera supports like a Bluetooth transfer, they'll literally airdrop to their phone the image, which already compresses it like really badly from your camera. I know from like a Mac to a phone, it doesn't really do much. Yeah. But from the actual camera to the phone, it really, really ruins the image. And then they're editing a JPEG that's already compressed like twice now. Yeah. And it's like, bro, it looks like, and then you throw it in social media, it's like artifacting, banding and stuff. It's like, bro, just do it the right way. It's better to save yourself the time and effort. Just do it the right way and money. You know?
Yeah, like, no, I wholeheartedly agree. And like I see it a lot. There's one scenario that I know of where I can like support someone, or I've seen someone successfully use, not even Adobe Express, but like the mobile Lightroom. And he was a festival photographer, shot this crazy photo of Lil Uzi and knew that he needed to, you know, on the spot, show him and like get it done. So he dropped it to his laptop, like just put the SD card directly in the or into his iPad, excuse me. And just did it right there with, you know, Lightroom mobile, and then went and showed Uzi, and it was.
Well, that's again, you're kind of forced into that because like you need it now. Yeah. And like I know people like even in like Islanders games and stuff, I don't know how like it works exactly with like live games and like there's photographers around and like they need to post when like, oh, they just won or like like something crazy happens. Yeah. Are they like airdropping it straight off their camera, like, and they have to like rush and or they send it to someone, like they have like a manager that kind of does that stuff?
I think they have an app, if I'm correct. I've never had the opportunity to work on an LCC team like that.
What is LC? What is that? Is
I
that
just don't even know what it stands for. I just know that like I have
That's
a
like
few
the
friends.
fish?
Yeah, like I have some friends who actually this one girl who I know who went to Hofstra. She's on the NFL's LCC team, so she works for
What's her name?
Melissa Wamp. She was working for the Bengals. Now she works for the Jets, I want to say. But she did like a little like TikTok video talking about, you know, a day in her life or whatever. And in that she mentioned that all this stuff goes into essentially like a cloud. And then their social teams will probably pull it down. They probably throw it to an editor. Editor quickly does whatever they need to do with it, sends it back to the social team, it gets posted. But I know for me, like the one time I was shooting the women's college lacrosse quarterfinals this year in Philly. And I was doing it for publication, and they wanted me to be doing stuff live while the game was happening. So what I found myself doing is during halftime, I would sprint. It was pouring rain outside, terrible. I went sprinting inside or found cover, quickly whipped out my laptop, threw the SD card in, transferred a few photos, had to go into like with an image in mind that I already knew, like, all right, if I can find this, I'll be able to do something with this. Quickly made an edit, sent it over to their people, and then went back out. And I ended up missing like the first 5 minutes of like the second half, but got the image done and was able to get stuff transferred off the card. But it was kind of a pain. So like I don't know how they do that.
And I assume maybe like with like all the AI shit coming out, and like we'll talk about that, is like they might be able to like streamline it, like you able to give like an image to like a software and it'll like make like a little like cool like nice done edit. I don't know. I don't know, because like then you'd be able to spend more time like shooting.
I mean, I think if you got like a little like almost like a personal assistant where it was like, hey, here's presets that I would do for this, you know, here's my image, do, you know, throw preset number 4 on it and send it to, so it's almost like if they were able to bring like a Siri into an editing software where it was like, hey, you know, here's what I need you to do, you do it, send it to this person, I'm gonna go back to shooting.
Nick, cut this out. This is like we're gonna start a business actually. That's episode 2.
Yeah, don't tell
no more. We're starting a business. No, dude, that's actually fucking hilarious. That's but that would be literally like, we'll get into the AI talk, but like I think that's the way to go with it. Like helping you, not
it's an assistant.
Replacing.
That's that's the way I think it. We'll talk about that a little bit. But that's where it needs to go for sure.
No, dude, absolutely. So like I wanted to get sort of a look on like where you started photography and like why you started, and like what was the appeal at first, and like at what age were you like, this is what I want to do?
Yeah, definitely. So I all right, so actually I'm a little bit of a rare case because I started with video first and then switched over to photo, and I feel like a lot of the time it's the other way around.
Absolutely.
So I started with video back in high school. I got a GoPro Hero 3, and that was the newest one at the time. So that shows you how long ago it was. Because I think they're on like,
it was
10 or 15.
12, I think.
Yeah, something crazy. But loved that thing to death. And I started off by watching two separate things. One was this dude named Sam Colder on YouTube. I came across his like My Year 2016 video. Dude, knock my socks off. I have not seen it. Like now it's probably like a very like his masking and stuff still very good, like very high quality. But like in terms of the overall edit, it's like your classic travel video where it's like just some, you know, chill like lo-fi, like some chill lo-fi like type beat, and then it's all these cool edits, whatever. But I remember watching that and just being like, oh my god, like I had no idea you could do that. And then on the flip side, I've been like super into snowboarding and stuff my whole life, so I was watching like snowboard videos and snowboard edits, and I was like, I want to do like, I was like, this is so cool, like I would love to do this. So I first started out by taking that GoPro with me everywhere and shooting a lot of my friends snowboarding, and that was like my first steps into edits was that. I also had an iPad, like an iPod and iPad mini growing up, and I would do iMovie trailers with some of my friends, and it was like the pre-made trailers though. So it was like all you had to do was just plug in the videos and some of the words.
And you just had the clips to fill in.
And that was it. And my parents, I remember my parents, I mean, like, you know, they're like, they had no idea what the technology was, but they'd say, they're like, oh my god, this is amazing. And I was like, isn't it? This is great. Some shaky iPad video. But no, I mean, that was definitely the start of it. And then it, you know, that was when I was younger, but still just kind of like messing around. And then it evolved into this GoPro footage and, you know, bringing it on vacations with me, bringing it out with my friends, and like even like a day at the pool. Like I would make an edit when we would go to like the community pool and just have us jumping in the water. And like, it was stupid. It wasn't anything, you know, crazy, but to me it was like the most fun thing ever. Yeah,
but that's the thing. Like you have to use it. Like if you're able to use it all the time, like, that's the most important part. Like even if it was like, oh, like the concept was like you can like actually like post or make money off it. Yeah. The point is you're using it, and that's, I think, that's part of the passion is like,
Yeah.
if you're able to not go into it with the money is like, oh, I just want to like make memories and like make content with the thing I have is like, that's what's beautiful. And that's like what's going to make you more interested when it comes to the making money shit.
Oh yeah, dude, 100%. And like I used to make I was making YouTube videos for a bit, like at my like my kitchen like computer. No, actually, I
play the video.
There's like one or two of them. You can find them now. There's like a few edits that I made because they were like sports related. Because I was I was like a not any good, but I was a multi-sport athlete, and so they'd all be related to sports. And and some kid in high school found them and started giving me shit about it, and I was just like, I was like, I'm taking them down. There's like 60 to 70 of them up there too. Like there was a lot, and like I think I had like 4,000 or 5,000 subscribers. Like it was like. Damn. It's one of those things where I kick myself now because it's like you just stuck with it.
Exactly.
Especially you see all these people now who are like making money hand over fist because they've just making YouTube videos and stuff for so long.
And they leave the old shit up because it's like fuck it.
Yeah, and because like now it's like now if I were to do it now I'd be like who cares? But back then I care. I guess like I was in high school.
I mean that's high school though. Like I've felt the same way. Like I didn't kickstart my social media at least. I was very self-conscious of that, especially in high school. Mm-hmm. My senior year, like the second half of my senior year is when I started to actually do it because I was like, fuck this. Like, I'm not going to see any of these fucking people like after I graduate. Yeah. And then in college, like, no one really gives a fuck. It's like, bro, do your own thing. Yeah. So, like, that's where I saw the most success is the social media stuff for sure. Yeah. You just got to push it out. I mean, that's what I kind of reinvented myself when I got to college. You know what I mean? Like, I got to school and I was like, this is what I want to do. And I was like, this is how people are going to know me now. You know, I was like, I made a vow to myself. I was fresh opportunity.
Yeah, I mean, like no one was, especially because no one from my school went to Hofstra. I was the only person from my area that went to Hofstra, so it was like no one knew me, no one knew anything. I deleted my entire Instagram pretty much.
Yeah, fucking full restart.
I deleted everything and I just restarted and I was like, this is what we're doing now. And luckily, there were other people at Hofstra that were doing the same thing, but not in the capacity that I was doing it, if that makes sense. So absolutely. Like you had like we were talking earlier about a friend of mine. His name's Kyler. Big mentor for me. I was working weddings with him and a lot and stuff like that throughout a majority of college, and taught me almost everything when it came to lighting and how to handle people in certain situations and how to act and just present yourself at a job. But he was doing commercial. He was doing like commercial stuff. He was doing weddings. And then you had people who were like sports photographers for like the WRHU or the Chronicle, and you didn't have anyone that was shooting like their friends. Like there were some, but they weren't doing it. They were just doing it very quietly, And I feel like I was very much like I came in and I was like, and like everyone that I could, I was like, we're doing a photo shoot.
That's another thing I want to talk about is that like I see a lot of portraits of Fies. Yeah. Like you did like against like a white wall or something. Yeah. I know like you had it was a really Anastas with like the Giorgio Armani. Yeah. That was mad funny with we had a cigar, right? Or cigarette.
Yeah, dude. I mean, that was all during COVID, and that's where like I saw a big takeoff in my skills, like a big change. Because beforehand it was like shooting and it was running around New York City and trying to be this whole like making cool edits and whatnot. Yeah. And then that was my freshman year, sophomore year, kind of fell out of it a bit, was making some edits around Fidel, but like was very much like kind of stifled in what they would allow me to do around. I know you've taken more liberties than I have when it comes to shooting the events. Like some of the older guys were a little bit tougher when it came to like bringing my camera to certain things.
Why? Because they thought it was like stupid or something?
Yeah, like they weren't always, but they were just like, yeah, dude, we're not gonna be those guys. And I was like, I don't understand why,
You know what? I was communications chair for Fidel. Yeah, and I know people were like, dude, you fucking look at Instagram, looks so good. I'm like, what? And they're like, what happened? I'm like, I stepped down. I don't know what to tell you. Yeah. But no, dude, I had a fun time doing it because that was my first semester in this comms chair. Yeah. And I was like, fuck it, let me make this an opportunity that's like geared towards me, and that's like the important thing I want to like harp on is like taking any opportunity, like even if it's not direct, like up your alley, like again, like comms chair isn't like a photography, videography position. Yeah. But I made it that. Yeah. And I challenged myself to make like graphics or like cool photos. I even started doing like the composites as I literally cut, like my first text with you was about like how you kind of did the composites. Yeah. But kind of like that was super fun because I brought it literally to like sports day, like the Rush events, like everything, just so that I can number one, just like get like that experience with people, because I also wanted to get like a lot of people photography, because I was just doing like automotive up until then.
Yeah.
And especially with the composites, it was like now I can learn lighting, studio backdrops and shit, and like I gaffed everything up. Like I marked down where the light should be because I had like 3 separate shoot dates.
Yeah.
And I used my boy's room, so I couldn't leave the setup.
Yeah.
So I'd
3
like
days.
Yeah.
Wow.
I did 3 days. I made it 2 days this year though, because I was like, fuck that, I'm not doing 3 days.
Yeah.
So how did you do it?
We did 1.
Really?
We did 1, and we funneled people through, but hopefully none of the 5 see this. I messed
You're gonna
up.
see it, but it's 2 5s.
I messed up with the composites. So Kyler Lopez was the kid who did it before me, and so I used his backdrop. I used some of his lights as well. We did it in the basement of the house that we had at Braxton at the time, and I just funneled people in. It was super easy. It was like an afternoon. Guys were upstairs playing die, like whatever. It was just like come down, take a picture, move on. We also did funny composite day that day too, and I took all the pictures. It was at the end of the semester, so it would have been, I don't know. We'll say April, May, and then summertime hit. I went and I was doing my own thing, and I was trying to figure out how to put the composite together because they didn't want us to use a company to put it on the. They didn't want us to use a company to take the pictures and put it on the template. They wanted me to make my own template. And I was very new to Photoshop and things like that. And I was like just lazy and didn't want to do it. And
so what happened?
We ended up having to spend so much money to get a company to do it for us.
So that template you're saying, like where you have the slots and like the crest in the middle?
Yeah, because Kyler sent me one, but we doubled in size between his last one that he did and the one that I was doing. And I was just like too ignorant to try to learn. Bro. Yeah, to try to learn it. And so we spent so much money.
So how much was it to get that template?
Bro, it was like $2,000.
That is fucking retarded, bro.
Yeah, it was yeah, they were not happy with me at all because they had a company like go through, like I edited all the images and gave them all the images. Yeah. But then we had a company that ended up printing it out were the ones that did the template and then did all the photos. Yeah. Shit, Carlos, who was like my best friend and my roommate and the president at the time, was not happy with me for that.
I mean, bro, what I like to make the template, I'm trying to pull up right now.
Yeah.
I took one of our old ones. It might have been like one you did or one that you shot. And I just like put it on a Photoshop file and I just like changed the opacity. And I just matched.
Dude, that's the way to do it. That's the way to do it. I don't know why I made it so I was like cutting square. Like I made it so much more because I didn't know much about Photoshop. And
yeah, I got you.
I was just like kind of going on the fly. And I look back on it now. It's just one of those things that just makes you like.
But like think about that in terms of like hireability too, is like if you learn Photoshop, look how much money like they got from like just being able to learn Photoshop.
Oh yeah.
If you could be like the all service photographer, like set up, shoot, edit, Photoshop, you could add like that was $2,000 you said?
Yeah.
Like that could have went in your pocket if that, you know what I mean?
Oh yeah,
if,
I wasn't paying dues. That was
that mine was free form.
Yeah, it was wiped. But yeah, I don't know. So I know they still give me shit about it sometimes.
Bro, I'm telling you, there's gonna be at
you
least
live and you learn, you know.
There's gonna be at least like probably like 10 fives to watch this. Like follow like I know Gruder's gonna watch this.
Yeah, and he's gonna be like, dude, but it's how it goes. But
I even did because I was about to do it for Pike as well.
Okay.
And I even made their it's not gonna fucking pull up if I try to do it.
Yeah, you know what's funny is Pike actually did ours once I stopped doing it. The two kids in Pike.
Yeah, and the Antonio.
Yeah.
But this was the template for theirs. It was kind of just like I just kind of matched everything, and like this EPS is on their website.
Yeah, that's it's so simple when you like know what you're. I was just an idiot. I don't know why, but you know, like I said, you live and you learn.
You learn. That's the whole thing here. You know.
Yeah, that's how it's gaining experience.
So yeah, I mean like. In terms of college, you were just kind of like bopping around during COVID, doing like the portraits of people and the composites.
Yeah, so COVID's where things really kind of took off, technically speaking. Not camera wise.
Yeah. Your kind of skill set in the technical.
Yeah, because I was very much forced to. Obviously, we're all inside, and some people had gone home, some people had stayed at school, and I ordered a backdrop from B&H, a paper backdrop. I think it was like $60 or $70. And I would cut sheets of it off and literally nail it into the wall in the basement of my house. And I had it was like a $40 or $50 dual package, like 2 Amazon lights that these massive Fresnel bulbs that are like, if they shatter, it's giving you all forms of diseases. But But I had 2 of those, and then I had a panel light, and I was just like, it was just made it work, you know. And it was a white backdrop, so there's not much to it. And it was one of those things where like I had so minimal stuff going on there that I had to use my creativity a bit to make something cool. So that's why you saw like that picture of George. There's another one of Layla Osman. I don't know if you know her that we did. It was like a Chanel shoot where she had a Chanel perfume bottle. Same idea.
You did Mike Gianni, right?
I did Mike Gianni, and then one of my favorite ones ever is I did wanted posters of some of my other housemates, and they look like idiots, you know. But we were just like goofing off having a good time. Like... But that was also like the closest that I ever had to like I guess the dream, which was there was the studio in the basement, and there were the couches that we would hang out on, and the dudes were just there kicking it while I was taking some photos, and then they were like, "Oh, you should do this," and I was like, "Oh, that's a great idea," and then that just led to.
That's
so
the thing
things.
is like that's literally in a frat basement, and like so many people stop at the idea of like, oh, like I don't have all the gear, the professional people there, but like if you just put in like a little bit more effort, like even like the B&H backdrops, like they're just $70 backdrops, like even the lights, like you're saying, like bro. If you're able to just work through those little intricacies and just be like, okay, like I know it's not going to be like, but this is going to allow you to now look at every level of production, get experience doing it. Like you got experience doing a backdrop, lighting, getting people in, shuffling people in, bouncing ideas.
Yeah.
And you did that. I mean, I'm assuming you didn't fucking pay them. So this is all just like free work that it's all helping you. So like, why wouldn't you do it? You know? So like, but people stop. People stop at like the idea, like, even the set here, you know, it's not a fucking $10,000 set.
Yeah.
That was on Amazon for $40.
Yeah.
These plants belong upstairs.
Yeah.
I was shuffling plants down like in the den. My mom was just on the couch. I'm just shuffling plants down. She's like, "What do you do?" I'm just grabbing every plant. All these are supposed to be up in the den. You'll see the spots.
She's not happy with you right now.
I'm like, the film forest. Come on. I want
it. But, the idea.
These are literally chair. I spent like no money, everything, because I already had all that stuff. Yeah. But like you're saying, and like you've been doing, is like if you're able to just suck it up a little and just like use what you got, you get that experience.
Use what you have, man. It's like use your friends. You know, you don't need models. Use your friends. Those are your models, and they're the ones that are going to be more down to help you because you know if they're. I mean,
and you don't have to. You can fuck up. There's no like money involved.
There's no pressure.
There's no pressure.
Yeah.
And I think that when you're starting out, you can oftentimes feel rushed. At least for me, like I felt pressured. Like when my first grad shoot, like I did in 2023, is my first like grad shoot I was doing with actual people, like these girls. I'm like I was just like all in my mind. I was just like trying to get through the shots and like make sure I remembered everything. And like it was such the wrong way to do it because now I take my time with each person and I allowed myself to breathe a little. Like I realized that the pressure when you get on, like obviously. I always get like a little bit of like jitters before shoots. It's just natural. Like you want to do a good job, but obviously I've managed them better. And like, I've allowed myself to be like, not pressured. It's all manufactured. Like, they're hiring you because you're good at what you do.
Yes.
Like, they're paying that price. Yeah. And I think people don't realize that, and they don't give themselves enough credit.
No, it's dude. I still have the same thing. You know, like I still have when I'm reached out to for a shoot, regardless of what it is. I still have, that little bit of nervousness where I'm just like, all right, like it's an expectation to do a good job, which I think is not a bad thing to have. You're expecting the best out of yourself and you want to run through and make sure everything's perfect. And
you want to do good. And like, it's a passion thing. It's like that you should have that. If you didn't, that'd be bad because you don't care.
Yes, exactly.
So like, that's something to know. And like, you can always flip it and be like, okay, there's pressure because they want a good product, but they're also trusting me to give them a good product.
Exactly.
That's why they're even booking me. So.
Yeah.
There's always ways to flip it and stuff. I've often made mental notes. Like, I'll get there earlier, prepare, make sure everything's good, like my settings and shit. Yeah. But, I mean, the jitters are just inevitable. I think that's with any job, though.
Yeah,
like,
it's
not
even
even, not even photography. Like, I'm sure when the musicians you're shooting perform, I'm sure they have, like, fucking jitters.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure Taylor Swift, she's probably performed 1,000,001 times now at this point in her career. Yeah. But, like, look at someone like her. Like, she's the biggest star on the planet. I guarantee you that girl gets nervous before she walks on stage.
Yeah, absolutely. That's just a product of life.
That's just how it goes,
After you graduated, did you see, like, what were the kind of steps you took to kind of get to that level you wanted to get at now? Like, were there certain, like, did you get in touch with certain people? Like, what did you do post-grad to, like, elevate yourself?
Yeah, so it was one of the biggest things that I really stressed when I was in school was connections, right? That's the name of the game. It's obviously a little bit of what you know, but it's who you know. Especially when a lot of this stuff too, if you don't have a backing of a publication or whatever, you have to go through your connections in order to get opportunities. So what I did was when I graduated, I went back home to Philly, didn't come straight to the city, and was still doing my thing where I was using some friends, doing shoots here or there. But when it really came to the more like commercial stuff, it was like, all right, finding, maybe small businesses, like local businesses that needed help. Obviously, we're going into a new age of social media, technology, having reels. To have, like reels, having to have your business on display constantly. And you got a lot of business owners, small business owners, and any town, anywhere that are going to need that stuff. So it was starting off with a lot of that. And, it's obviously, maybe it's not for my portfolio. I'm not going to put it on Instagram per se, but you're getting paid. You're using some of your skills. You're practicing, you're working with different things. I was working with a flower shop. You know what I mean? Like, I've never shot flowers in my life. Yeah. I don't know anything about flowers. But I would go there, and it was a rougher part of Philadelphia, but I would go down there at 9 a.m. on, like a Wednesday morning and walk in. They'd be like, all right, we're shooting. We want to focus on the cherry blossoms today. So I'd be like, all right, go upstairs. It was like a warehouse type deal. So I'd go upstairs to this other room, set up, just see what, where it took me. And I think that stuff like that's super important. So that was like the first initial steps. And then when I moved to New York, it was just finding, what I wanted to do. And I've kind of, as of late, have gone more towards the sports area just because there's a lot of it in the city. But, it's just like finding connections and finding out what I wanted to do and making sure that I was reaching out to the right people and effectively being like, hey, here's my portfolio. Here's why I think I would benefit, your product and what you're trying to push forwards and, making it happen. Yeah. So that was definitely like, I think the biggest thing that was getting me to sort of where I wanted to be.
I think the biggest part also is finding the right clients that are like that. It's also like perceived value. Like what, if a client sees a perceived value in anything, they're willing to pay for it. So like with photos, if they see a perceived value in like shooting their flowers, like they're going to pay you whatever. You know what I mean? Like, and there's some clients that just naturally won't. And like, you just kind of have to like navigate and filter out like who's willing to pay. Maybe like you just go a little lower for someone, but they're consistent with you. So I think navigating that is like probably a challenge, right? Yeah. But I would say is like what's going to separate you from like the photographers that kind of just like for fun. They do it for fun.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I think it's definitely tough sometimes where it's like, you got to look at, you'll be reached out to someone, say it's like for a headshot, right? And I'm like, all right, like, do I want to, headshot's a bad example. We'll say a business. They'll be like, all right, we want to book, a shoot for our flowers. We're going to pay you $200. Is, you sit there and you're like, all right, like, am I going to, is my time worth the $200? Is this going to be anything? Are they going to come back? Am I going to get, repeated value out of this? So I think it's kind of something where you got to feel it out, and figure out what works best for you. And obviously everyone's not going to be the same, but it's a lot of last minute stuff. You got to get used to it. And that's one thing that I tell people a lot is I'm like, you have to be used to, it sucks, but you have to be used to last minute stuff because that's the way a lot of this stuff happens. It's the way a lot of it is like, all right, an event was suddenly thrown together and we need someone like now, and
that's, bro, I feel the same way. And I'm very rigid. I was very rigid with like my schedule. Like, I'm like, I want to be here. I want to be at the gym at this time. And it's like, it just doesn't work like that at this space, like at all. Like I'm going to the gym at like different times. Like now, like I try to just go as early as I can. Yeah, me too. Just get out the way. Like, cause I don't know how long I'm going to be on shoot. Like we just did a shoot for this, this Mercedes AMG GTS in Jersey City.
Oh, cool.
But we ran into some issues. We were supposed to be done by like 3 p.m. It's like start at like 10, 3, get rollers, do like gas station shoot, do everything. But we ran into a problem at one of the spots. Like they kicked us out, and then we went to another spot. They kicked us out, and then we got to another spot. The lighting wasn't ideal, but we're like, all right, we'll make this work. But that's like another thing, like making it work, but then also like budgeting time for like those errors because we didn't get home till 8. Yeah. So like that's just how it is. And like traffic was brutal, but that's the thing is like you have to just suck it up.
Yeah, you got to deal with it. Like, gotta make it work regardless.
But it's exciting because like now on this Monday, the guy I've been working with, Sam, he wants to rig up my own car with the camera setup.
Oh, really?
His car's in the shop.
Okay.
He's like, I don't have my car. Like, can you do yours?
Yeah.
I'm like, fuck yeah. Like, that's sick as fuck. Now I'm the camera car.
Yeah, that'd be sick.
So like, it's really exciting, and it took me a little bit to kind of adjust my kind of like schedule and like mindset to be like, just go with the flow, man. Yeah. Like this is the life this is what you wanted to do.
Yeah.
You know, you're getting
yeah.
it now.
Yeah, dude. Sometimes I wake up and I gotta tell myself that, you know, like I'll wake up like super early for a shoot, and I'm just like, this is what you signed up for, man. You know,
Yeah,
like,
bro. I mean, but like, bro, you could be in a fucking office 9 to 5. It's like fucking boring.
No. I do what I will. You know, I do what I enjoy, and I do that for
Absolutely,
reason,
So I wanted to dive in a little bit on equipment and technical stuff. So I wanted to know like what your current setup is, like lenses, camera.
Yeah, so I shoot on a Sony. Well, I got a bunch of cameras, but we'll talk main. I have Sony A7R2. She's definitely slowing up a little bit. I probably should upgrade pretty soon, but she still works. So I'm riding her until she dies.
Absolutely.
But yeah, that's the body, and then I have 3 main lenses. I have my main, the most used is Tamron 28-75.
Absolutely.
Very just reliable f2.8.
Yeah.
If you know, as far as a 28-70 goes or 28-75 goes, $800. You know, it's a budget. It's a budget lens, but it works. You know, like gets the job done. The quality's very good. Obviously, if you have the funds to go up to, like I see you're using like a Sigma, if you have the opportunity to go up to something like that, definitely take it.
I mean, the Sigma's not much more. It's like I think it's like maybe like 300 more for the Sigma.
No, not at all.
That's a 24-70.
Yeah,
so you get a little bit wider, but
but like definitely, you know, I think the G Masters are great as well. But you know, that's the Tamron one for what it is. Can't beat it.
Yeah, absolutely.
So that's the main one, and then I have a 85mm prime Sony 1.8. Which is just the perfect portrait lens.
Is that the G Master or the G?
Just the regular, just the.
Oh, it's the FE one.
Yeah,
so,
yeah.
Yeah, I know because they have like levels of those, right? Like some of them, they like even like their some of their other primes, like the 35, they have like a regular, and then they have the G Master.
Yes.
And they have like the 50 with the G Master one.
Yeah.
Do you really think there's like that much of a difference?
I mean, I think there's a little bit of a clarity difference for sure, but I'm not gonna lie, like my 85. I don't know what the difference would be. Like that, the lens is fast. It is clear. The bokeh is beautiful. Like it's everything about it that you search for in a lens, it has. So I don't know what the step up could possibly be. It's light. It doesn't weigh a ton, so it's not like they're removing weight, you know? I mean, maybe.
It's probably like the edges and like shit. Like people that like really like pixel peep, they're like, or like the color accuracy or the fringing and shit. Like, bro.
Yeah.
For the majority of the work, clients like aren't gonna be catching that, and like you can fix a lot of that stuff too.
Yeah, so. and like for what it is, especially nowadays with like technology, a lot of those lenses aren't gonna be. It's not gonna be an overwhelming amount that you're even gonna wanna. Like I've never had an image with my 28 or my 85 where I've just been like, you know, like I wish the edge. You know, like it's been maybe there's a little bit of it near the end, but it's never been enough for me to be like, all right, I need to get a new lens. So it's those two, and then my all-time favorite lens. I have a TT Artisans 11mm fisheye.
So I wanted to talk about that lens. It's crazy,
awesome.
I saw some portraits you did of it, and like I think it's like you know what I'm gonna get into is I have this on here, the one of it's like POV, you snuck a camera into your dreams.
Yeah,
those shots are sick. as fuck,
thank you. Yeah, they're fun. That was a fun. I just brought it. We went to a driving range by my house back in Philly, and they have a mini golf course that has like all these like stupid little animals on it.
That was so sick.
Yeah, dude, the fisheye is my absolute favorite lens ever. I think in fisheye, and then I'll be like, all right, if it won't work this way, I'll have to do it with something else. But it's great. The problem with it, and it makes it more of a challenge, is that it's a all manual lens, fully manual. So with Sony's, with the electronic viewfinder, it doesn't. When I go to focus it, it won't do that zoom in thing that Sony lenses do. So I've got to like. It makes the focusing just that much more difficult. And then when you have a fisheye and it's such a wide lens like that, you know, the details aren't going to be so crisp. So sometimes I'm sitting there and like, I kid you not, I'll just put on a burst and I'll focus. I'll just like,
it'll land one.
Yeah. And as long as one hits, we'll be fine.
Have you done video with it at all?
I've done a little bit. It's like I said,
It's not reliable because of the...
it's a little tough, especially when you're trying to do things on the fly. It makes things a little bit difficult. I would love to do more video with it. One thing, if Sony hears this or anyone,
definitely watching
if you're listening, please make an autofocus fisheye lens. I guarantee you it'll be your most sold lens.
What is the issue here?
I don't get
understand. Also, what I don't understand is why the fuck is it so much more money to get 1.8 and like why isn't there a zoom lens with 1.8?
I don't know.
Like a 24 to make a 24 to 600 1.8.
Yeah, dude,
It's so hard.
I don't get it, bro. And like, there's a kid. I don't even know this. If we're gonna get real nerdy here, there's a guy who I'll send you his profile. I don't know if you can put it up somewhere.
I'll put it on the screen.
Yeah. I don't remember his name, but Carl something. I don't know. This dude shoots events in clubs, and he has a lens that goes down to 0.8. It's a sub 1.
But how do you even get like a full person in focus? Because your nose is here.
Yeah, I don't know, but he makes it work. And like, because I even went as far as to like buy his like premium subscription on Instagram, which like I don't ever do, but because he shows the settings, I was like, I don't know how, because he doesn't use flash, but he shoots in a club where it's dark, and he has the most beautiful images.
So is that like, those are like, is it a cinema lens? Like what is the actual lens?
I don't know. He doesn't talk about it too much. It's like kind of like a little hush hush. Yeah, and I'm sure it's probably on there somewhere. So if I find it, I can let you know. But I know it's a sub 1.
That's crazy.
And it goes on like 0.8, and it's
so nuts. Yeah, you could shoot like 50 ISO in the club.
Yeah. And crazy. He's getting these beautiful images where it's just like, and then that's where like a lot of the color stuff that we talked about earlier comes into play, where he takes these lights, you get a glimpse of someone. A lot of his are like very intimate, so it's like these people making out in the middle of a sea of people, right? And it's that 1 second that the light hits them, and let's say it's a red light, he's able to manipulate the colors and the lighting to just like really bring these people out.
I think I've seen this guy.
It's beautiful. I'll send it, and definitely.
I'll throw him on for sure.
Yeah, it's gorgeous.
That's crazy, and that's like, again, harping on equipment is like, don't focus on it too much. Like but like that scenario is like, that will get you like
it's nuts. I mean, like I think as for the general population, use what you have, make it work. And then when you find yourself wanting to go into a setting where it's a bit more specialized, like something like that, then you can buy what you need for that particular job, because he's obviously not using that lens for most likely not using that lens for anything else. Like he probably bought it with that specific type of shooting in mind.
So like thinking ahead in that respect.
Exactly.
Like making sure the equipment that you get is like, you're going to actually have use for it.
Yeah.
So do you have any like video equipment that you've used? Like I know, because you're mainly a photo guy, but I know like some guys have like some basic video.
Yeah, I mean I did. I actually had I got the Ronin S right when it first came out.
That was my first gimbal.
Yeah, and I rocked with that for a bit. I've since sold it just because I didn't need it too much. I would love to have a Ronin M, like the old style one with the 2 hands. I would love to have one of those just sitting around just to like play with, because that's what I learned on, and the thing is great. The stabilization is super easy. It's because like with the Ronin S, you gotta like, it's 3 axes that you have to worry about. With the Ronin M though, it was just a little bit of like tilting it back and forth, and it was very easy to do on the fly. Also like the 2, and now while you can get attachments for it, nowadays, but like having it built in like this and just being able to do that, it was awesome. So I would love to have one. It was kind of heavy, but so as far as that's concerned, sold the Ronin S, but I have like a little like small like handheld cage that I'll run with sometimes if I need it, and then I have like a VHS camera that I play with sometimes as well. That's just its own separate entity. But
then you have I know you have the little film camera you bring out, like the social setting.
That's my little point and shoot. It's an Olympus in Zoom Infinity Stylus 105. And it just takes 35mm film, battery powered, super easy, like the easiest possible thing you can imagine, and it gets you perfect film images.
And you throw those on like your personal, right? Like I think I've seen a couple of them.
Sometimes, I made an Instagram account dedicated to it, but I got to the point where I was just like, I have 2 other accounts that are old and not used, and I'm just gonna put everything on my personal, might as well. Like I got one account where I want everyone to go to anyway. Why deviate attention?
So I wanted to talk about a little bit, this just came up, the usernames and like getting a good username for your socials. You have a really clever username because it's literally your name backwards. What made you think of that?
Like I said, when I was starting out, when I really got into it, there was this dude, Sam Colder. His username on YouTube was just Cold, Kold. And I was like, using your name, like just manipulating your name, I was like, that's a great idea. So I was sitting in like history class or something in high school and just like playing around with it in my head. And then I have a friend named Justin. We used to call him Nitsudge, which is just Justin backwards. And I was like, there's an idea. Like I just take my name and just flip it, because it's still me. It's still, my name, but it's just reversed. Unfortunately, the actual Yabor, so I spell my name Robby. The actual Yabor is an account. It's taken. It's by like this like 13-year-old. The account is so old.
I hate
it is
that shit.
not used.
I fucking hate that shit.
Yeah, and it's like it's a private account. And I don't even think the account's active. So like I can't even get in touch with the person to be like, yo, like I'll send you, even though Instagram doesn't allow you to buy names, but like I'll be like, I'll send you $50 right now or whatever it is for
I
this
feel
name.
like that's not true though, because like how does celebrities and like people coming up get it? Like for example, like John Summit wasn't big, and then he just got his name. Yeah, like I feel like Instagram will grant you some shit if they know you're like legit.
Yeah, no, 100%. They say they don't, but
yeah, like I tried to get Tony Schiavone, but it's taken, so I have the J for my middle name Joseph. I would love to just get Tony.
Yeah,
it's like literally a blank account. Yeah, like, bro, like what's the policy on Instagram where like can't there be like a date where like of inactivity where like if you've been inactive for like 10 fucking years, like just
take the account,
bunk your account, get out of here.
No, I report this shit every time I think about it. I report the account.
You better report him fucking after this.
I literally it's like a picture. I know it so well. It says it's a picture of a llama is the profile picture, and then it says Yabor Roblox, a pleasure to have in class, and he's got 11 followers maybe and 4 posts. And I report this kid's account every time I get the chance because I'm just like I'm so like I need this username because mine is YBBBOR.
Yeah, it's the 3 B's.
Yeah, because my middle name starts with a B, so like it kind of works out if you really want to like get super complicated. But see, it's
I said Roblox on the thing, right?
Yeah, Roblox. That's it.
That's crazy.
Yeah, that's the one. And the kid's that's what I'm saying, bro. Like it's. A llama. It's got 11 posts. Like I know it like the back of my hand. I report this account regularly. If he sees this, I hope you delete that immediately. That's because cool. Dude, it's the bane of my existence. That's
one of the worser cases because it's literally like such a stupid account.
No, it's so dumb, and like people see that, and I'm like, bro, it's not me.
Well, that's another thing. I changed my personal name. Like my personal Instagram to Photo CEO because I didn't want Tony Schiavone to pop up.
Yeah.
So I was like, what's like a fun name that I don't really care? Like, fuck it. Like Photo CEO. Like, I don't really give a fuck.
Yeah.
I mean,
So
that now that when you look up a name, it's like my professional name. Because before it would pop up before my professional account. I'm like, I can't have this.
No, you got to be careful about it. You got to think because I'm running into the issue. And honestly, I'm probably going to have to switch up some names pretty soon because I have my main account, which is just Yabor. And then I have an account that was my main photo account for a bit when I still wanted mine to be a personal one. And that was called Yabor Films. And then there's the one that I was using for film photos, which is Yabor on Film. So they're all like within the same ecosystem of like my name backwards. But now it's like I see DMs on some of them from people who know me too that are like, I'm like, this isn't my account. Like I have to like I have a big on the Yabor Films. I have a big thing in the caption that says or in the bio that says this is not active. Please refer to this other account for everything. But it's at the point now where I might just switch it because it's like kind of getting in the way.
Yeah, and I think like that could like that is like I feel like not enough people think about that shit.
No,
like, it can really affect like your clients.
Oh yeah, I didn't think about it at all. You know, like, it never would have crossed my mind until it started happening, and then it was like because it's one of those things where they're like, oh, like you want to keep it in the ecosystem so if people search it, they'll be able to find it's all me. But now it's like getting in the way where my one account is where I want everyone to go, and these other ones are popping up. So
yeah, and it's like. People, the attention spans are like fucking this. So like if they don't see it, like they're out of here. Yeah. It's the same thing with like your profile grid. Yeah. Having your best work at the top.
Oh yeah, with the pin post and everything.
Yeah, like they'll see it and then if they don't see what they like, they fucking that's it. It's crazy.
Yeah. Like speaking of that, like the most important place on your Instagram, the very first post, that very first pin post in the top left corner, that is where your best work should be. Because that is the first thing that everyone's going to click on because right now you think about it, Instagram's the modern business card. So like I'm at an event, I'm shooting whatever it is, and people come up, they go, oh, what's your Instagram? Like, let's connect. The first thing they're going to click on is that picture. So that is where if anything that you want them to see, it should be there.
I like that, the modern business card.
Yeah, that's what it is. Cool. That's exactly what it is. I
like that a lot. I think that, and not enough people dress up their account the right way. Because they'll have some good shit. But it's like down and it's like
it's like hidden, and obviously it's only 3 pin posts, so you're very limited as to what you can do. But it should be your three things that you want people to see.
I think that's better if it's 3 because then it makes you think really like, what do I really want to show people? Yeah, you know what I mean? Because if it's like fucking like 9, like you don't really have much thought into you're like throwing up your shit. Oh, yeah. So I think having that first one you're saying that first one on the left is like the most important.
The most important. I used to have one. It was the face of my like actual portfolio for a bit too. It was a girl that went to Hofstra, this girl Darian. We did it's like a blue with the fisheye. It's a blue background. She wearing an orange shirt.
Yes,
that
I
one,
like that picture a lot.
Yeah, it's like a ton of. I love it. It's a great shot, and a lot of people liked it. And so like when I had that one there, and I can't tell you how many times I would show people my account. That was the first one they clicked on, and they were like, "This is amazing," and then automatically you're off and running when it comes to like potential clients.
Absolutely.
You know, because they see that, and like if their first reaction is, "Wow, this one's incredible," it's all right. Like now we're in a good spot. You know, they don't have to look for something to compliment you on. It's immediate.
And now it's that one with the red backdrop, right?
Yeah, same Darian as well. But that one's a little different. That one's a bit more edited. It's a bit more of a graphic.
That one looks like it looks fake almost. It looks like a painting.
Yeah,
shit.
Cool. Like
a magazine cover. Almost.
Exactly. Yeah.
So would you say like what has been like your biggest three, like take it like all of what you've bought so far with like equipment wise, the three most like underrated things you bought that have helped you the most?
Wow. That's extra batteries. That by far.
Batteries that are on brand.
Yes.
That are Sony.
Yes. Yeah. Not buying some boom batteries off Amazon. Getting something that works.
Dude, I used off-brand batteries and it made my camera overheat. Yeah.
Yeah.
Isn't that crazy?
It's nuts. Or like they don't hold a charge, and I would be charging it all night or whatever, and I use it for an hour the next day and it's
ridiculous.
Dead. Yeah. So batteries by far. But like an actual answer, I would say the fisheye lens has been, because it's a $200 lens that you can get off Amazon even if you want it. It's like I feel like it's very passed over, and having something stylistic that you're able to just be like, all right, like here's my regular stuff, but this is if I want to add a little flair.
It's also got an expensive feel to it. I feel like that looks like an expensive shot.
It's heavy. Yeah, it's all metal. It's weather sealed and everything like that. I mean, for $200, the quality you can't beat it. I would say filters as well. Getting a good filter. So I like Polar Pro filters. I've got a few variable NDs. I've got some stylistic ones from I think it's called Prism lens. That's the name of the company. Like a mist filter. Yep. I have their Dream one and their Star one, so it makes lights look like a star. But I think something like that is another underrated piece where like little things. Obviously, they have some filters that I think kind of overdo it a bit, but if you get one that just adds a little touch to your pictures or your videos, it'll separate you from the crowd very, very quickly.
I feel the same way. I think like with Polar Pro, it's especially important to like get like, because you gotta like obviously give and take with like equipment, like where you're gonna put the most money, where you're gonna put like you're like there's some pieces of equipment that you don't need the most expensive thing for, like for example like a tripod stand, like these lights, like these are fucking cheap stands, but you don't need something like that for that. But in terms of filters, like what your camera's seeing, I think like Polar Pro, you really need that expensive filter, because the vignetting and shit, the color shift, like you don't want that shit in your fucking your photos.
And it'll change the game too. Like I know for me, I have the Peter McKinnon 5-stop variable ND one, and I don't use it a ton because like obviously with photo versus video you're able to crank the settings a bit more to make it work in certain settings or certain scenarios, but I use it like when it comes in handy, it comes in handy. Like I'm very thankful that I have it in my bag at all times, because it really changes the game and my ability to do certain things, when it comes to like nature. Like let's say I'm out like in the mountains or something like that, if it's a super bright day but I want to get a river kind of flowing.
Slow shutter. Yeah.
You need a filter for that. You're not going to be able to crank the settings enough without it looking absolutely atrocious and not have a filter there. So I
totally agree.
I would say that. So that batteries. Yeah. So those would be my top three: batteries, and a stylistic lens, and then a filter. The batteries
so crazy. The biggest mistake is like I bought these batteries on Amazon and they just don't hold charge and they overheat.
Why
the fuck is my camera getting hotter? Like I was on a shoot at a nightclub. And it's hot in there. Yeah. And the screen is pressed also against the. I was shooting video. The screen is the screen is out right now, so that you can kind of vent a little. Yeah. But it was pressed in. It was up to my eye. I was looking through the viewfinder, so everything was like heated, very condensed, and it overheated like a motherfucker. Yeah. I was shooting 4K for like 10 minutes.
It's awful. It's awful. Batteries change the game. Also, like doing something like this, like a long form content. If you don't have a battery that can hold the charge, with certain cameras, you're gonna be.
I'm surprised this hasn't overheated yet. Yeah. It's also it's connected to a V mount. Everything's being powered by the V mount. So that also makes the heat go to all like the V mount. So it's like kind of fine. Like the monitor. Yeah. Like I don't know if Nick, you've noticed that the monitor gets really hot. The surface of it because of how much because it's also internally recording to an SSD.
Yeah.
So that gets super hot. If you touch it, it's like it's pretty hot.
Yeah.
Like it gets really hot. I'm like,
Yeah.
but it's normal apparently.
Yeah.
As a fan, you could hear it.
I heard it
Right
when it turned
now.
on. Yeah, I heard it when you turn on.
The light has a fan. Like cooling is so important. And I think like if you have shitty equipment, like the batteries, for example, like you just because that doesn't have a fan, the A7 III.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
FX3 does. So
Yeah.
that's another thing.
It's
Yeah.
another thing. Yeah.
But last question in the equipment, I forgot to get to. What's your dream setup? Currently, like with the cameras out right now, what would be like your if you had all the money in the world, what would you buy?
So if I could do anything, it would be the new Sony A9 that came out with the global shutter and
Is it the A9iii or something?
yeah, it's over like $8,000 for the body. It's ridiculous, but the camera itself is ridiculous. It shoots 120 photos a second in
It's like raw video,
it's
basically.
crazy. And the global shutter changes the game. Because I don't know if you've ever felt the effects of a rolling shutter before with like if you're trying to shoot like we'll say like a plane propeller.
Yes,
It'll like look all wonky.
yes,
Yeah,
because the shutter goes down.
Yeah.
when you go through it.
Yeah.
It's downwards.
Yeah, or read down or like sideways. It's just not all at once. And so that would be the body. And then if I had any lens, and it's actually something I might be purchasing right now, like kind of it's on the list coming up very soon. I might be trading in my Tamron 28-70 for their 35 to 155.
Okay.
Because I just see so much more practicality and use.
What's the aperture on it?
2.8. Well, it goes down to 2, and then as you go up to a certain
Max is
distance-
2.8 or
Yeah, it'll 2 is the lowest, and then it'll go up to 2.8 based on your distance. So as you zoom out or as you zoom in a bit more, it'll go up.
I wanted to pull this up just because I love the fucking sound of the global shutter.
Yeah.
It's so sick.
Yeah.
I fucking love this sound. It fucking plays, bro. Come on. It's like it's crazy.
It's crazy, and that's like the speed of it is nuts.
I know. It's fucking ridiculous.
It's like I said, my camera shoots okay, and she's definitely slowing up, and then I see something like this, and I'm like, well, also I'm like looking at this, I'm like, dude, if I walk up on somebody with this, how do I compete?
It's also like it's more reliable because it's mechanical shutter on ours.
Mm-hmm.
And if you have a global one, bro, it's just not gonna play, bro. If it's a global one, your mechanical shutter. Sorry, if it's a global one, you don't have to worry about the mechanics.
Yeah.
And I think that. Do you know like what your shutter count is on your A7 II?
Like
R2?
how many times I've opened it and closed it?
Because you can actually see.
Yeah.
Yeah. So like, because that'll determine like the life expectancy, like kind of.
Yeah, I'm at. So as of the last time that I checked.
Keep continuing.
As of the last time I checked, I was at 80,000.
Oh, that's not bad.
No.
That's not bad at all.
No, and then I would say that I'm probably up near 100,000 at this point. I think it goes up to 500,000 is like my limit. So
you know what? Yeah, it's probably the R series probably goes much farther.
yeah, it's built for
Mine goes to like I think 250,000.
Okay, but it's still a lot though. Like I'm at 100,000. I've been shooting almost straight photo, and I've been using it for going on 4 or 5 years now at this point. So like you're shooting a lot to be hitting those numbers. You know what I mean?
I've seen shutters break though.
Yeah,
I've stuck just not even up to the expectancy before, like because let's say they left it open or something, and you know how like the newer ones when you have the sensor open, it has this new safety thing where it shuts.
Yeah,
like that's not good because the shutter should never be like exposed like that because it's so delicate. If like some dust or some like wind hit it, it could like fold it inwards, and then it's fucked. And you know how expensive like it's not even worth it.
It's a whole new camera at that point. Yeah, you're just replacing.
I finally loaded it.
Yeah, like that's what I'm saying. Like,
dude, that's
how do you,
so stupid.
Like, how do you compete against that? You know what I mean? Like,
that is fucking insane. 120 FPS. Shut
yeah. Like imagine that I look at it at a sporting event.
Mm-hmm.
How do I compete against that person who's shooting that is catching every single movement? Which is I'm like, let's say a dunk on a basketball court. They're getting the whole movement. Versus where I'm like here. Exactly. Here, you know, so
more opportunity for that shot.
Yeah,
you get everything.
Yeah, no, it's crazy.
And that's like very targeted towards the what do you call it? The sports photography. I feel like that's not something I would get because like I don't do mainly sport. Like that's something you would definitely be it's up your alley.
Yeah, like sports, concerts, things like that. I mean, I guess I don't do wildlife or anything like that, but I can assume that animals, or if they're moving quickly, something like that would be, you know, like prime for it. So
absolutely,
yeah, that'd be the dream.
Nature for like all those like. I would love to be like that Nat Geo motherfucker.
Oh, dude, that was the dream back in the day. I don't know if that'll still happen, but
bro, that shit is cool as fuck. Like getting close to animals.
Yeah, you ever see the Secret Life of Walter Mitty?
Yes. Yeah.
That was like the dude in there, Sean, whatever his last name is, Sean. I don't want to say Sean Penn, that's a real person, but Sean, whatever his name is, that's the guy. That is the boy. He's out there in the mountains, like shooting like
sick,
dude, it's crazy. I would love to do it.
It's absolutely crazy.
Yeah.
This was the photo, right?
Yeah, fisheye. Yeah.
Fucking sick. Like everything just looks so much wider. You know? Like and like it curves, but like I feel like it like adds to that like stylistic.
Yeah, like that's the idea of it. You know what I mean? Like, and that's why and there's also things like if you go the picture of Josiah, our friend Josiah, should be the third one on my profile. With the cigarettes, it says "Smoking Kills." That's another one. Like, it allows me to get
on your website too, right?
Yeah, it should be. It allows you to just get that much closer to people, you know. And I think it like the warping of the background is the part that draws me to it, you know, because it's not how the normal eye sees it. And like some people like stray away from that sometimes. Yeah, like it'll make people look weird. But which it will. If you're like, you know, like if you ever 0.5 your friend, like obviously I'm up here with the point, you know, like it's going to make them look weird.
Cool, bro.
Yeah. So it's there's a time and a place for it for sure. But I think it's just learning how to work with it and learning how to make it, you know, benefit you.
I think that's super important. That like getting that like because when you get that surreal feel, I think it almost like it also draws people to it though, like in an indirect way. Bro, I gotta fucking get like an Ethernet cable. Oh, holy shit. What about 5G? Is supposed to be like the long range one.
Yeah.
This is the Smoking Kills one if it pops up.
Yeah.
I know what you're talking about though. He's got like
he's got a bunch of cigarettes lined up and they say Smoking Kills on them. Yeah.
Damn, bro. I wish this was fucking low. Goddamn.
Yeah, but it's like things like that. That one's done in fisheye. I shot some concert photos in fisheye, which is a little trickier because you need Bryce Vine. Yeah, like that one's tricky because you need them to be like interacting with you a bunch more, which not every artist loves to do because not like I have any control over what they do on stage. Just like a chance that they come up and they decide to, you know, make room for photos. And like some artists are better about that than others, but
yeah, I totally agree. I think that like, but I think if like, do you have like a second to talk with them like before they?
No, not always. No, sometimes I just, especially with concerts, if they're not directly hiring me and I'm going there of my own volition or for a publication, I show up, credentials, go straight to the pit, and then it's, you know, just figuring it.
Just like I mean, that's like kind of the part of just being on media of an event.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. I think I might be able to pull up my phone. Josiah. Here we go. Rob, you build it on Squarespace, right?
Yeah, it's Squarespace. Yeah.
Get into that as well.
Yeah, which
websites.
I don't know if I want to keep at this point. It's getting a little out. I need to put some more work into it for sure. It's
Yeah, I mean, websites are like, I'll always like have mine up, but like most of my shit's coming through DMs.
Yeah,
like, you know what I mean.
Yeah, no, I mean it's one of those things where like, you know, you're sending in portfolios to people. A lot of the time, if you're reaching out to someone, they'll ask to see a portfolio, and you can direct them to Instagram. Like I said, modern business card. But having a functional website that at least has a majority of your good work, regardless of the layout, you know, it is a step in the right direction. Then obviously, if you want to, you know, really increase your chances, you make the layout a bit more customized. You direct them where you want them to be. My layout is very.
You kind of just have fucking loaded. You had like all the images kind of just like that's what the landing page is.
It's very like I like mine to be very blank because I don't want attention to be taken away from what I'm trying to show you, which is the images. Because like I've seen some really cool portfolios where like there's a bunch of stuff, you know, jumping out at you and things are moving and like it's like all right, but it's like that's not what I'm here for. Like I'm trying to, especially if I'm trying to get someone who doesn't know much about photos to look at my stuff. I don't want them to
distract. Because if it's just this, then that's what they're focusing on. That's like the art. Yeah. Right here. It's in front of you.
Yeah. So I think the only thing that I would do to maybe update mine a bit is to create, like, let's say the sports page, for example, I have everything all in one page instead like putting it in folders. So it's like, here the basketball images here, the lacrosse images here.
Yeah, I saw that. Yeah, it's like kind of everything in one place.
Yeah, so that's I think my next step. That's going to be creating probably different pages within pages, so it's going to be a little bit more of a challenge. There's the jersey.
There it is.
Yeah,
fine loader. Yeah, Because it curves up a little.
Yeah,
like
and it allows me to get a lot closer and get some cool angling on it. But
exactly,
it's not going to be, it's and then like a normal lens wouldn't warp or anything like that.
But like that's
that's
a part of like this whole thing is like getting that cool like stylistic.
Yeah.
I have this motion shot. Fucking loads, man. I forgot what this one was about. Oh, I know what it was. It was this one.
Yeah.
Is this the whole image or is this part of it?
No, that's the whole thing. So that's the star filter, and that was done in the parking garage right across the street from Hofstra, right next to the cancer center.
Really?
Yeah, and it's
that's one of the lights in the parking garage.
Yeah,
and
it's just the filter.
He's in focus, and that's what you get when it's softly out of focus. And it's sick. Though.
Yeah, no, and like having something like that in your back pocket is awesome because it's like it changes the.
This is its own photo right here. If you really want.
Yeah.
That's a cool.
You could break things down a little bit more for sure, and I think that's that's just like the perk of it, and like. It also like if that wasn't there, it would be I guess still an okay photo of Jordan, but it wouldn't be.
Yeah, this is like it's symmetrical too. Like you have this like follows the center.
Yeah. No, it's one of those things where like also like this luck, bro. You know what I mean? Like it's like things just fell into place in the right way that it ended up working out.
Yeah. That's fucking sick though. Like because this one's a little slanted too, like the diagonal. Yeah. Sorry, the horizontal one.
Yeah. No, it's great. It's a. I don't use it too much anymore. I used it a bunch for a while, and I think I've kind of gotten my own aversion to it. But it's one of those things where like it's ebbs and flows. Like I'll have times when I use stuff like that a lot, and then times when I go back to more of a traditional type shooting, and then I go back to that. And so it's whatever I'm feeling. But that's the fun part.
And the black and white too, I think emphasizes it even more because you get to focus on the composition here, like everything that's going on.
Yeah, and that was during a time when I shot in black and white for only a year, or like only put out black and white images for a year, just to try to see what I could do with it, and it really taught me a lot about like cool shadowing and stuff. And this was part of that whole.
Because you have all shades of gray here, like even all these like this, the reflections up here, like this is a different shade, different shade, different shade, different shade. It's all like grayscale. It's like really cool.
Yeah.
I love that. This is what drew me to the shot, not Jordan. This part, I really like this part.
It looks like the North Star, like above his head. You know what I mean? So
it's like this whole part looks like so perfectly like symmetrical.
Yeah. Because the way they make the filter, it's like a whole bunch of. If you were to look at it up close, it's like a bunch of lines that are like cut going across the filter and then intersecting, and then that's what diffuses the light and makes it look like a star.
Yeah, that's. Dude, Tropicolor, or not Tropicolor, they're like that family of company, like Tropicolor, Prism lines. They make so much money.
They make crazy.
Bro, that shit is crazy.
Bro, like
they're always coming out with shit.
They're coming out with wild stuff. But I'm not gonna lie. Sometimes I feel like their filters are a little much. Yeah. Like they have a few of them that they're like, this is what you could do, and it's like, all right.
But people buy that shit.
They eat it up.
They fucking stack them and shit.
And like this is where I'm gonna like sound like kind of a hater here, but like this is where you see people who are like. So for me, there's creating a moment and capturing a moment are two different things in photography, and they're two very like separate. Creating a moment is like putting together a scene and like more like studio portrait stuff, right? Because you're creating something out of your brain. Then there's capturing a moment, which is sports, concerts, whatever, just being there to take the physical picture and move on with your day. And I think there's still some artistry to that, and being able to know when something's about to happen and making it look cool, whatever. And then you have the people who use these crazy filters who are just like shooting randomly, and now you've got a picture of Lil Tecca with 6 heads, and it's like, all right, that's cool.
Isn't that shit crazy?
Well,
you know what I saw? I wish I had it. There was a reel some guy made of an engagement shoot. It might have been with one of those filter things, but it was kind of cool in the sense like capturing the moment. It was like them like running through like a field, like a couple, right? Newly engaged, white clothing, like through like a cornfield type scenario. And it showed like 3 of them, and it was like kind of cool. It was like an infinite sort of like loop of like all of them, and it showed like infinite love. Like that kind of like makes a little more sense to use it in. Yeah. But when you don't have that in mind, it's like just like a little
people they're just like, oh, I'm gonna slap this on the camera and it'll make my photos super unique. And I one thing that like sometimes I see people on like social media and like people just eat it up. Like, this is sick, and I'm like, it's a fairly average photo. They just happen to have like 6 of them.
Yeah, like a cool looking filter.
Yeah, so I think it's kind of given. I mean, it's good. You can use it creatively for sure, but I think it kind of has given people the opportunity to almost be a little bit lazier because they're like, the filter's going to do it for me.
I feel that way in a much lesser degree with my ProMIS filter because it's a 1/2. so it's very strong.
Yeah.
Right. But I kind of like that look because I wanted a super diffuse glow. But sometimes it can be a lot.
Yeah.
I don't find myself using it a lot because it's a little too much.
Yeah.
At this point, I could have threw it on for this video, but I feel like it would just look so hazy, smoking weed.
Yeah, the lights would have been just
I'd
super
be
diffuse.
yeah. But no, I think that there's times and places for everything.
Yeah, yeah, very much so.
So I think that's
and you can't rely on it too. That's the biggest thing. You can't it's good to fall back on it and have something there, but you can't. That can't be the only thing, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
That can't be the only thing that makes your photo unique. You have to have a unique photo, and then that just adds to it.
Absolutely. So this shot, I fucking loved, and I noticed that right here the lights are different. So you played with the hues here?
Yes. Yeah. So this is, especially with concerts, the lights change all throughout the show. So it's
gotcha.
In some, maybe for one song they're gonna be, especially with Bryce Vine puts on a good show. He knows what he's doing when it comes to getting stuff specifically for socials and stuff, because he's very much a social media artist. He really gets into things like that. But yeah, he'll have some songs where it's pink and green lights. He has some songs where it's blue lighting, some songs where it's red lighting and stuff like that. So he changes it up. But yeah, it's a lot of this image normally would have been completely blued out. I had to really play with the hues to make his skin
semi-realistic. Yeah. I mean, no, you did a good job here.
Yeah.
Did you use any denoise or anything?
Yeah, so all of it, on the majority of the images, especially with something like this, I'll throw in a little denoise in there. I'm not afraid to admit that. A little bit of AI assistance, but
it's fucking there.
Use it where you can. Sometimes it looks a little unnatural, but I think that at the end of the day, everything looks fine.
So there was no Photoshop action in this, right? Because these lights grays look really cool.
No, that's all. So a lot of the time with concert venues in particular, they'll actually pump fake smoke, smoke machines, and what that does is that diffuses, and it changes the whole game. I will sometimes have a mist filter on or the dream filter from Prism for concerts, and that does add that little bit of light diffusion, but. Yeah, for something like this, they just have I don't you have people smoking in the venue, and that also helps too.
Yeah, black and white action.
Yeah, so when something like that, that's because the light was probably red, and I was probably I didn't want to deal with it. Threw it in black and white, and you get a cool effect that way.
This is a little motiony too.
Yeah,
like with the shot like this, are you going like that?
So sometimes yes, but for this one in particular, I just masked him out. And through a radial blur.
Gotcha.
And then you throw him back on. But the key with that is to not overdo it. You get the radial blur on Photoshop. I don't know if you used it. It's violent. Yeah. You go anything above 5, and it feels like you're the Mr. Krabs.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It feels like your head's spinning, and it's there's no reason to do that. So for something like this, I probably kept it at 2 or 3, just enough to get a little bit of the blur going.
It's subtle. That's what makes it.
And then you mask him back on top of it, so it looks like he's.
Because dude, I thought it was done in camera.
Yeah.
That's the feel you want to get.
Yeah, exactly. And I've done stuff like that in camera before. If you go, there's a Lil Tecca concert that I shot.
Oh, on the
and there's one of him in the middle of doing something like that, and that was all in camera. That was all, but I think you can tell when it's in camera because the blur comes from other places too. It'll be very hard to just get the one spot completely in focus. Yeah, like that.
This one?
Yeah. So.
Oh, fuck you. I'll log in. Hold on.
Yeah.
I'd actually change my Instagram password because it said your password was end up in a data leak.
Oh yeah, dude, I've been getting a ton of that shit recently too. The leaks are everywhere. I feel like it's not.
I feel like some of it's fake though.
Yeah, I don't know.
I don't even know my fucking password.
So you can see it even from there.
Yeah.
It's you see how there's blur on his face, and
see,
it's gonna. That's how you know if it's in camera because it's going to trail from other places.
Because it's happening everywhere. Not just that one. Edges.
Yeah.
Gotcha, bro. Yeah, I really liked the way you did that fisheye though. That was probably my favorite one out of that. There.
And that's just that's a scenario of just luck. You know what I mean? That's just moment happening, and just being able to be there and having the wherewithal to be able to capture it.
You gotta think ahead though, right?
Yeah,
you gotta be all right.
You gotta be able to feel it. This is how I feel with live events. I don't know if you feel the same way when you're shooting things, but when I've never understood, and this might be me, I don't want to pat myself on the back, but this is me, when I'm shooting basketball, or I'm shooting sports, or I'm shooting concerts, you can tell when something's about to happen. everything has a build up, right? Like if I'm shooting basketball, if they're coming down the court, I'm getting ready. Because what do you think's about to happen?
Yeah.
Someone's about to shoot, someone's about to score, someone's about to get a block, something's about to happen that's going to be worth photographing and capturing. And so like when I see people that like are not able to capture those moments, I always wonder if they don't necessarily feel the ebbs and flows of it or like understand how things work. But it's the same thing with concerts. In most songs, there's going to be a chorus. You know, like you're going to have different sections of the song, so you can kind of feel when something's about to happen. Like, all right, he's in a low point. They're in verse 2. They're not like there's not going to be an explosion. There's not going to be flames. There's not going to be smoke. When that's going to happen is going to be during the chorus when they go back to the part that everyone knows. So it's like you just wait during that part, and then when it goes back up to the part where everyone knows, get ready to shoot, and you know something's about to happen.
Yeah, I feel that's the same way with car stuff too. Like if I'm at like a meet or like at a show and I like know someone's about to pull out, I'll get to a certain point, a vantage point, so I get the right shot. Like instead of being with the crowd of people that like just block your shit.
Yeah,
you know?
yeah.
So I definitely think like with moving things like concerts, cars, you have to be like 5, 6, 7 steps ahead.
Oh yeah.
In order to think like, okay, because I wouldn't have got like shots I've gotten because I wouldn't have gotten them leaving or something if I wasn't at the right spot. Yeah. And sometimes I'll have to haul ass.
Oh yeah, no. Sometimes you gotta move. Like you gotta be ready
like
for
an idiot.
Yeah,
a little bit.
Yeah, but you gotta because I can guarantee you look like an idiot, but you probably got a way better shot than anybody else.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know, and but yeah, you gotta be able to feel the flow. And I think it takes time. Like I think it takes experience to like be able to understand that.
Because people are focusing probably on the settings and shit.
Yeah.
Once you got that down, you can worry about like the event and like, capturing it the right way.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, for sure. Absolutely. So I saw you did music shoot, a music video. Yeah. Oh wait, no. Hold up. This wasn't the music. This was just a music shoot.
Yeah. So this one was for a group in Philly called FNS. Just some homies of mine. They make some good music. Check them out. But this one I shot the BTS for the music video, and then I created the album cover. So I actually had a blast with this because the album cover is based on. I don't know if you've ever seen the you ever seen Always Sunny?
Always Sunny?
Yeah, Always Sunny in Philadelphia, the TV show.
I've heard of it. I've never seen it.
So there's a scene in it where one of the characters has like the board that's like got all these pictures and stuff, and he's got like if you look up like Charlie, his name's Charlie. If you look up Charlie like cork board or something like that, it'll come up. It's like a pretty well known. Yeah.
Gotcha.
So this is like a common scene that you see in like TV, like police TV shows or whatever, where like they're tracking someone.
Yeah.
Right. And so the concept of the song is that the person is plotting on whoever's singing. Okay. And I was like, they asked me to do the album cover, and like they wanted to use a picture from the shoot, and I was like, no, like trust me, I've got an idea for this. So I saw this and I was like, that's it. Like we'll make our own thing, like someone's trying to follow the trail and they're plotting on that person.
Yeah.
So I actually had so much fun doing it because like they gave me full creative control, and they were like, so let's see what you can do. And then this is all just BTS from the actual shoot, and just using one of my favorite things is shooting BTS because
that's
the director. Yeah, that was great, but the directors do all the work. Like they do all the lighting, you know, like it's set up for the music video. So as long as you use your settings wisely and like use your surroundings wisely, you can get some crazy shots.
How, you know what the lighting setup was for this?
Yeah, it was one light. It was an aperture. I have a aperture 200D, I want to say, and I took the softbox off of it, so it was just like the raw light. And I took a piece of paper and taped it up and made it like a circle out of it, so it would be like a spotlight, and taped it onto the light, and so it just created this spotlight effect on this corkboard that I had in my kitchen. And I took a whole bunch of old documents and wrote, like, even printed some out. Like I went in and I found an old LLC form and started filling it out under their like names and stuff like that. Not like actually, but like I was like under the FNS group. So like if you were to zoom in on this, all the documents are like very specific to them. Like it just kind of came together very nicely, like someone was following their trail.
Wow.
And just used a spotlight to really make this like spotlight effect. So
that's fucking sick.
Yeah, and then the picture in the center is the picture from
the first.
Yeah.
Oh shit, dude, that's fucking like the way you were able to like get that inspiration and then just like make it happen.
Yeah, dude, that's like that's
important.
That's the best part. You know, like got to pull inspiration from somewhere, and that's, I think, you know, how it over. That's how you get new ideas. You know, like you pull things from other places. Everything's already been done, so it's just like taking someone else's idea and manipulating it.
Was this like a rented space or someone's apartment? Like what was?
Yeah, it was a rented space. It was in New York. and was just like a studio space that they rented that had multiple rooms, and we just made use of it. Like every single room in there is just a different place, so it's just like they all have their own themes. So
Yeah, that's fucking so.
yeah,
So dope.
I think I went through like Peer Space or something like that.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
I saw you did Alan Houston. It seems like a big figure.
Yeah. So I used to work for his company called Fissile, which makes the clothing. And so what they are is they're a philanthropic, we'll call them a philanthropic clothing company. So they have two sides of the business. They have a philanthropy side where like the Alan gives back to the community a lot. And then they have their clothing side where they make clothes for the NBA, WNBA, and NCAA. And Alan is the owner of the company, and he's still like currently active with the Knicks, as well as being like one of the best Knicks of all time. And so I came on to the project because a friend of mine, Jared Weber, his dad works for the company, and they hired me for a few photo shoots. And I was like, you know what, guys, like you look like you know, this looks like something I could be a part of. So they brought me on to do some marketing stuff with them. I've since left the company, but they brought me on to do some marketing stuff with them. I mean, they make a great product, and like they're still very up and coming. And I think that they're in almost every arena in the country. So if you go, regardless of what team you support, they have stuff for your team, as well as a bunch of schools. I think they're at like 150 when I left, 150 colleges. So they're getting there. They make a great product. But yeah, for Alan, I mean, it was just when it comes to the Knicks, it made no sense not to do it with him. And that's actually inspired from Jerry Seinfeld did a photo shoot for Kith. And I saw that. It was just like around Jerry's house. And I was like, this is a sick idea. So we just went around Alan's house. I have two aperture.
It's like one light right here.
Yeah, it's like a key light and then a fill in the back. But it was just, you know, we wanted deep shadows in this. I wanted the nice shadowing and like the contrast of colors to really have the clothes lit up, but then to have everything else seem like kind of dark and rich.
And the blue really stands out out of the scene.
Yeah, so it was just around Alan's house, and it was like pulled directly, the idea stolen directly from a Kith shoot that I was just like, yeah, this is it.
Yeah, but dude, I mean, it looks good.
No, it's great, and it's one of those things where like, you know, you have something like that in your portfolio, and it's a big name that like if people, you know, at least within the basketball side of things in the industry, they know who he is. And so like saying that, I had the opportunity to not only work with him, but then to shoot his, like to take pictures of him and stuff like that, and I think they came out fairly well too. It's like it's a good thing to have, and so like don't take those opportunities for granted. You know what I mean?
Bro. Absolutely. Yeah, I mean, like in terms of Alan Houston, like I literally put him in here because like he's a fucking known figure. Like, that was something I want to talk about.
Yeah,
like that's just something you have now on your thing.
Yeah.
So, absolutely, man.
Yeah.
That box setup in it.
Yeah.
So where the fuck is it? So how was that constructed?
To be honest with you, so that was already there. That's actually why we picked the space to begin with. So I don't know if you've used Peer Space before, but it's essentially like an Airbnb, but for studios.
Oh.
So it's super handy for like if you need to find a place to shoot. There's a ton of them. Well, it depends on where you are, obviously, but like in like any city, there's going to be a ton of them.
Yeah.
So yeah, and you can rent them. You rent the studio for like $30 an hour. And it like everything's taken care of. It's literally an Airbnb. Like you show up, everything's already there. A lot of the time they have lights already set up. Sometimes it's not included. Sometimes it is. Sometimes they have backdrops set up. And it kind of is completely, you know, you go in there and just you and the model or whoever else you have there, and you just kind of you make it work. Yeah, no, it obviously depends on where you are. Some of them are more expensive than others, but that one was the reason why we chose it, because it was just like I saw this beautiful, you know, blue background with the crazy lights, and I was like, no, I have an idea for that.
Because you're so close to the subject with this, how were you able to like, because I don't even see your shadow here at all.
Yeah.
'Cause you had to get close to the subject. So how were you able to like not even get yourself seen?
Yeah, so with something like that, the lights are like right next to me. You know what I mean? And then as for like the rest of my body, it's a lot of just manipulating myself to keep myself as far out of it as I can. And now like if you were to see the full image, I'm sure there'd probably be like my toes peeking out at the bottom.
Yeah.
But I obviously cropped them out. So it's kind of led to just that. But yeah, I mean like you have to be careful. The lighting can't be too far behind you so your shadow is not, you know, casted onto the model. But it's a lot of just like, the lighting right next to me, and then making sure that my body's just like, sometimes it puts you at weird angles. But
but I mean, bro,
you got to do what you got to do for the shot. Yeah.
And like the colors work so well.
Yeah.
You know, this blue is like really.
With the orange, it pops.
Did you modify the blue, like the hue or brightness wise?
Not really, no. I just slapped the preset on these, and it just kind of, it ended up coming out like that. And it work.
Sometimes you don't want to touch it too much.
No,
Right?
no, yeah, like
You're
I think
like, this looks good. I don't want to fuck it up.
yeah, like I think if I remember correctly, the only thing that I did with these was I darkened her glasses so that way my reflection and the lights weren't in the glasses, which is just a little something you got to do sometimes. But
It doesn't need much work. It's
No.
fucking, like, that's like,
yeah,
you
yeah,
get to that point where you're like, if I fuck this up, like,
Yeah.
well, I'm going to fucking hate myself.
yeah, it's on
So,
me then. Yeah, like I
mean,
can't.
Well, have you made like virtual copies and then just like edited on each of them and like maybe just had a bunch of edits for one photo before? Like,
Sometimes I do a lot where it'll be like I'll have a photo in. For the most part, it'll be two versions. It'll be a black and white version and a color version for certain photos. Not all of them, but sometimes yes. And when it is in that case, I'll do maybe a few different versions of the black and whites. But usually it's just I'll pick one, and I'll have that, and I'll say, all right, which one do I like better, and I'll make my more intricate edits from that point.
yeah.
But there definitely have been times when I've had like 3 or 4 versions. And I'm just like, I don't know.
I mean, I've done it.
Yeah.
I think like sometimes you don't know which one you're most in love with, and you're like, bro,
Yeah.
them all.
Yeah.
If I shout out then was for a specific brand, yeah, I mean, like, damn.
Yeah, no, it was just for fun. That's just another one of those things where like the thing is, if you're not shooting, I don't say you're not shooting constantly because that sounds bad, but like you should be practicing, regardless of what it's for. Have fun with it, because if you're not having fun with it, if you're not doing this to like physically want to make something, like you shouldn't need a paycheck in order to want to do this.
Yes.
And I think that's like the biggest thing with a lot of this stuff, and a lot of the stuff that's on my page is like a lot of it's just like there's some paid stuff on there for sure, but like a lot of it's just like me messing around with my friends. Like I wanted to I had an idea and I wanted to make it happen.
Yeah.
And I wanted to do it cheaply. Like I don't have $1 million to be throwing on models and sets and stuff like that. So it's just like wanting to go out and create, and that's what a lot of the stuff is. And that's what, honestly, where the best stuff happens too. Like that's where the best ideas come from. So.
And I think that this segues kind of a little bit into this one. I wanted to see like where this came from, because this is like these looks from like a fucking movie. These shots.
This is another BTS, so behind the scenes stuff on a music video set. So this is a good example of where like I didn't have to touch anything. I was just there. Like the director and everything took care of the cinematic lighting because they were using it for their shot, and all I had to do was just grab the talent and be like, hey, look, I need 5 minutes with you. Let's do this. And so like for this shot in particular, the light is above, shining straight down on him, and then I think you get a little bit of a fill in the back to help take care of some of the shadowing back there. But it was just like sitting him down on the table and being like, look, like give me, obviously, and then this is where like you build up a rapport with the artist as well, because it's like it's you time, it's one-on-one time, because everyone else is probably running around setting stuff up. So it's like I came up to him. This dude's name is Amax, and I went up to him and I was like, look, man, like give me 5 minutes. We're gonna shoot you something really cool, and then you can ignore me for the rest of the day. Like I won't be around here, but if you like them, then we'll go from there.
I saw him on your page in another.
Yeah, I've shot him a few times. He's another one that like he liked my stuff, so he's reached out to me a number of times. He's a good dude as well. And he trusts the vision sometimes, and that's what a lot of it is too. It's a lot of being like, look, like I have an idea.
Yeah.
Trust me on this one. But I actually love these shots because it's like straight out of a movie scene, and I love it. I think it's very slept on because it's kind of gotten bumped down on my pages quite a bit.
Especially this one.
Yeah.
All like just top lighting and just fucking wearing it.
Yeah, with the fat cigar. Yeah, it's beautiful.
Sick.
Yeah, but sometimes situations like this are a little tough to work in because it's like the lighting is video-centric. So like a video, since the shutters open constantly, you can kind of pull in a lot more light in low light situations, versus photo where if you have something like this, sometimes the shutter becomes a little bit of an issue. Like the rolling shutter, you'll get some crazy lines from that, or like some crazy grains. So in a setting like this, it makes it a little difficult. But it was handheld, and I'd like hold my breath and like try to be as still as possible to get it.
What shutter was this at? Do you know?
If I had to guess, probably down in like the 160th, 150th area. So it's definitely just like if I make any movement, there's gonna be.
In Call of Duty, the fucking you can snipe and then and then he goes, oh, it's like all over the place.
That's exactly what it is too. Like I'm like my face is turning red, and I'm like, just one more second.
I've done that before for sure. Especially with like telephoto shots, I'll be like, and I'll like track something.
Yeah,
and I'm like,
you gotta
sniper,
do.
Bro.
Yeah, dude, you gotta do what you gotta do. And then when you have a fat lens on there, sometimes it makes it a little bit difficult. But
because all the weight's like here, and like it's wobbling and
Yeah.
shit. It wobbles a lot this way because the lens like juts out. But damn, dude, I have some just like quick questions right here. Most stressful shoot of all time.
Any wedding at all.
I've heard that. Heard that.
Yeah.
And you know what? I was trying to get into weddings because, you know, my boys are like now entering their 20s and like some of them have long-term girlfriends and like I just did a engagement shoot.
Yeah.
So they're about to get married like in the relatively near future and like they want me to do the weddings. And I talked to my production company, the guy that runs it. He's like, weddings suck.
Dude, they
I'm
suck.
like, because you have to deal with the people, right? Like, what is it?
I actually have a question. Do you have a kid named Nick that you work with?
Yeah. Calabro?
Yeah, I think if he's the same one I'm thinking, I think I used to work weddings
He did
with.
work at a wedding studio.
Yeah. I think it was him. I think we worked together for a bit. Yeah, but he knows like better than anyone. Dude, that stuff sucks because it's like not only is it a long day, like you're getting, especially if you're on the bridal side instead of the groom side, which traditionally the photographer and videographer are. They focus on the bride more most of the time. Sometimes they'll have two people and one will be a groom and one will be at the bride. But the bride's like you're getting there 9 a.m. to like watch her get her makeup and stuff done, and so you're doing like pre stuff, and then you go to, if they're having to be a religious ceremony, you go to whatever religious venue they chose, and you have to sit through like we'll say mass, for example.
Yeah.
So you have to sit through a mass, which is another at least 30 minutes, up to 2-3 hours maybe, depending on the day, and then you go from there to the reception there to the reception, and then you have to shoot the like appetizers and like the cocktail hour, and then you have a little bit of time for dinner, and then you have the actual party of the reception where you have like the first dance, the cake cutting. It's a lot of stuff that you can't be like, oh, go back, like I didn't get that, you know. So it's a little, and it's like it's someone's special day, so like you don't want to mess it up.
Be up their ass.
Yeah, and I feel like engagements kind of fall under that as well, where they can be a little stressful. Where it's like if someone doesn't, like, I don't know how your engagement shoot went, but I know for me it's like we're very particular. Like I'm like, you're gonna be at this point at this time, and when I'm ready, I'll be ready, and like we'll make sure that we get that moment. And when someone doesn't follow the plan, it becomes very stressful because it's like, oh, like I had one just recently where he got a little excited and dropped down to his knee before I was ready. And so it's like a quick like, oh shit, like I gotta go, I gotta run to wherever it was that I was supposed to be, because we were expecting it at this time and he did it a few minutes earlier, and so now it's like I gotta figure it out. And that's someone like you can go back and repeat that moment, but it's still like you want to get the raw emotion.
Exactly.
You want to get the in the moment stuff.
I agree with you. And the one I did, we were on a beach. You wanted to do on a beach. It was like meaningful to her. She loved beaches. So I had to be on a beach. So I was like, all right. We found a beach with a big ass rock that I could hide behind. And I gave him the pin, like, you have to do it at this point. Because I literally traced my steps to the spot that I needed him to be, like, from my vantage point, and I sent him that pin.
Yeah.
Walked back, hid behind it. But he ended up doing it a little earlier. I was, like, kind of ready, though, because, like, I kind of knew, like, he wouldn't do it in the exact spot. I'd probably be, like, around there. And, like you said, some guys get excited and they just want to get it over and just do it.
Yeah.
So I wanted to ask you, what focus mode do you do it in? Like, do you do it in like flexible spot and you have it like focusing on the face? Because I know, like, if you're shooting it not from the side, if you're shooting it from like, because you want to get the girl's reaction, if you're shooting it like she's here and he's here and you're shooting it from behind him, you don't want to get him in focus, you want to get her in focus. So like I used flexible spots so that she wouldn't be in focus, she would be in focus and not him. So how do you set up like your settings for that?
So I do very similar. I do so I'm thinking it would be autofocus continuous AFC, and I run with that to start, and then I'll switch over to manual actually. And so like I've gotten enough practice with my lenses that I can quickly, like, I know where I need to be for manual focus. So I'll run a few the AFC, and then I'll switch over to manual and get like the finer details. And that one's obviously a little bit trickier, takes a little more time, but I found that I've gotten actually much nicer results from running manual focus. It's just a little tough because it's like there's so many variables that go into it. But
I feel like I fuck up on manual focus.
It's tough. You gotta be in the zone for sure.
Because you're at 2.8, right? As well when you're
sometimes it depends on the setting. Like I won't go over about 4 or 5. But yeah, if I'm at that, like it's sometimes a little tough.
Because it's like you said, it's a one-timer thing. You got to get the raws. Like you got like 10 seconds. Really.
Because it happens because it's the drop down to the knee, and they realize and they go, oh my god,
that's the point.
And then so
I like you said, like redoing it just like to get better shots. I did that as well. because I was using a telephoto, and then I wanted to do another one with the Sigma, like a closer one up, kind of from the side that make it look like that shot was a lot better.
Yeah.
But it's posed. You know
Yeah,
what I mean? So
yeah. But it's one of those things where also like, because I've had to do that as well. But it's like only you and the couple know that. You know what I mean? So it's like, yeah, they're gonna throw it on Instagram.
like
oh
the raw one's a little worse, but they don't care because at least it was captured.
Yeah,
you know? So like,
yeah, exactly. But if I had to say most stressful, yeah, it would be wedding and engagement.
Anything like with the love shit.
Yeah, anything where it's like someone's special day that they've been waiting for like their entire life, and like you can't mess it up.
You got one shot, bro.
Yeah. So
favorite shoots.
Favorite shoot. All right, so favorite shoots as a whole.
Yeah, and then maybe like one as well.
Yeah, I would say anything with my friends where I'm just like messing around and like the ideas are flowing very freely. Or I love shooting sports. It's like my favorite thing on the planet, and just feeling the energy of the people and like just getting into it. But if I had to choose more specifically, it'd be anything with my friends that I'm just like, there's a bunch of us in the studio and we're just messing around and just making stuff. Favorite shoot of all time though, that's a little bit trickier.
If you had to pick one.
If I had to pick one that I think everything just kind of came out perfectly, that Allen Houston one is very high up on that list, because it was just it was my first time being able to shoot someone that well known, and two, it was one of the few times where the start of one of the few times where like I was able to have an idea and it came to fruition. Like I knew what I wanted and I made it happen, and I feel like sometimes there's a lot of disconnect with people there where like they'll have an idea but they never know how to like properly execute it.
And it just worked out perfect.
Yeah,
like,
everything.
Same wavelength.
Yeah, everything was absolutely perfect. So that one, or just one recently, snowboarding with my friends. Mm-hmm. That one was another one where just like, but like that one too, it was like I was riding with the camera and I would go down ahead of them.
The A7R2?
Yeah.
Holy shit.
Yeah, it was scary, bro. There was one time where I absolutely ate it, and I was like, then the lens was not connecting properly, and I was like, dude, I just absolutely busted
with
this
the camera on, or
everything's fine, like it still works now, but like for a second I was like, it was not connecting properly.
Is that a weather seal, right?
But
it's still like in the snow and shit. It's like fuck. Weather seal ain't safe.
It got a little messy, and it was connecting, and it was like reading, and I was able to see stuff out of the lens, but then it was giving me this message that said this accessory is not supported, and I was like, oh no.
Had to try it off.
Yeah, that's what it was. It ended up being like a few drops of water had gotten into the connecting point. So once that was all cleaned up, it was fine. But I was, for a second, I was really sweating. I was
dude.
Like,
I mean, when you're ripping it down the fucking slows with that thing, you gotta expect it the worst.
Yeah. But it came out fine. And like actually, it's one thing that like I would love to get into more on like a bigger scale, would be doing something like that for companies, like for snowboarding companies, like doing it with their athletes. I think that'd be so sick. Yeah, that'd be like the coolest thing ever. Like there's this dude that I follow a lot on Instagram. His name's Andrew Miller. Has a very unique way of looking at like snow sports images, and I think it comes into some really unique photos, and I think that like the work that he does is beautiful, and he goes out in like feet of powder with his cameras, and they're completely snow covered, and he just absolutely sent, like, it's like the coolest thing. Yeah, I would love to do something like that. I think it's just like,
I mean, I'll obviously gonna throw it. Yeah, I want to see it myself.
Yeah, whatever size, right here, this guy. This guy.
This guy?
Yeah, Sim.
Yo, what the fuck?
It's crazy. Like he's got pictures in some of his like slides of like his camera gear that's completely covered in snow, and obviously, hopefully, all weather sealed. That, or he's just like.
Do you know what camera he uses?
I think he's a Canon shooter, I want to say. Yeah, it's not Nikon though, so we'll let it slide.
Yeah, Canon's alright.
Yeah, but like he like. Bro, unbelievably talented.
This one right here. Oh, fuck you. I can't.
Yeah.
But that looks sick.
Yeah.
Wide.
Yeah, like unbelievably talented, and has such a cool and unique way of looking at stuff. Yeah.
It's like a fisheye, like you.
Yeah.
God damn.
Yeah, so he's a big inspiration, but he's one that like I look at his stuff, and that's what maybe like finally convinced me to bring my camera with us on a trip, because I was just like, I gotta send it. I was like, I gotta try it.
But that's the good part about social media, is that you can get so much like inspiration from creators you never met.
Oh yeah, dude.
And like, bro, I have like inspirations too, like in the car world, and like I'll see their shit, and I'm like, yo, like that'll keep me like I'll be like, because obviously you experience like creative block and like burnout,
Yeah.
And then you see those things, you're like, bro, that like just inspires me to push. Just keep fucking doing it.
Oh, dude, that's the way around it for me. It's like I find someone's stuff that I've never seen before, and they're doing something different, and I'm like, oh shit, like I gotta try.
And
that.
it motivates you. You're like, fuck, I gotta get out there again.
Yeah, dude. You know, and it's like I think the fun part is also like dissecting an image and being like, how do you do that? You know, and like obviously you have no way of contacting the person, so it's like, I mean, you can, but like the chances of them responding are probably not the highest.
Depends on the fucking person.
Yeah, but like being like, how did you do this? And like I'm sitting there and I'm like, how, like, what did this affect? And then when you figure out how to do it, and you're like it's that moment of realization where you're just like, oh my gosh, like that's how it's done. So
no, I agree.
I love that stuff.
I agree. Do you have a way you like when you're on shoot with like, so you do a lot of people, like how do you break the ice with people?
So there's a PG version and a not PG version.
Give it all of it.
The PG version is just like let them play their own music, but make them feel as at home as humanly possible, right? Because you want them to be relaxed, especially when it's a portrait. Because if someone's too stiff, you're gonna be able to tell. So you let them play their own music. You crack some jokes, maybe have some food there or something like that for them. Like it doesn't have to be a lot, but like maybe a little something for them to snack on. Just try to get them to relax. Also have a mirror set up so they can see themselves. And that's a big one because people like make sure they're not staring at the mirror while you're taking the picture, but have something there so they can check themselves and be like, okay, like
they're comfortable and
I look good in whatever I've
translates to the
the not PG version. Alcohol.
Really?
Yeah, bro. Bring a bottle of like tequila or something like that with you on a shoot. Have them rip a few shots. I guarantee you'll have the best images ever,
bro. Because I had an artist, music artist. He just released his album Drunk and Dangerous, so the whole theme was like, he got in a really bad accident drunk driving. Really bad. He should have died.
Yeah.
And the only reason he's alive is because he was drunk.
Wow.
That's what the doctor
just relaxed so much that.
No, I don't know what it was. He didn't go too much into it, but he said it gave me chills. He's like, you're only alive right now because you were drunk when you crashed.
That's crazy.
Isn't that crazy?
That's crazy.
So the whole theme of the thing was like drunk and dangerous.
Yeah.
That was the whole thing, right?
Yeah.
Because he made the whole thing about drunk and driving. And he wanted the shoot, right? He didn't end up bringing it because he was like, I don't know. I told him he should have brought it, but he was about to bring like a whole handle of tequila just to drink it all, like because we were shooting an album cover on the beach. You want to get him like in the beach and shit, like on the fucking the coastline. And I was like, bro, if you brought it, bro, I feel like that would have been sick, like translating it to like, because you're actually drunk and you look drunk and you're like acting drunk, like I feel like that would have been a move.
Yeah, I mean, I don't want them to get like, not always don't want them to get like hammered, you know what I mean? But if you can get like a shot or two in them, like if you don't want to bring like a whole bottle, buy like the little nips, like get like a little shooter and give them one. And if they're obviously willing to drink out, you know, like you don't want to force
can't
people,
pressure them.
Yeah, if they're like down for it, give them one, and you'll be surprised how much people just even with one, they just all the inhibitions are gone, and then they become way more open.
I mean, I feel like you don't need to do that with like obviously clients that you have like a really robust. Like if I were to shoot you, like we wouldn't have that fucking ice because we fucking
I was drinking before this, bro. I don't know.
No, but I'd everything like a one-time client or like something like that, like a one-off.
Yeah, it really helps. It really helps. Yeah, it's and like obviously it's like not for everyone.
Are you drinking when you're doing it?
I might indulge a little bit.
Yeah, I feel like it might help you.
It helps me relax a little bit too, you know, like, and also like it's one of those things where like you want to build that trust. Okay, I'm gonna give you a shot and I'm gonna do one with you. You know, like it's an immediate like they're like, all right, like we're in this together type deal, and it's just it builds that trust immediately. And
do you think
both get to relax?
You think it's because you're a frat bro that you like?
Yeah, maybe a little bit. Yeah, maybe a little bit.
Dude, I just bring booze to my.
Well, dude, actually, I learned that from this kid Kyler. He shot the Alpha Phi at Hofstra. He shot their recruitment video, and he had them drinking during it. Yeah, and these girls opened up immediately because like,
girls,
you know, they're very like, I don't know, you know, like,
oh, bro, for grad pics, it's like they have to look through my viewfinder at the photo every time.
Yeah,
I'm getting like makeup on my fucking do like eyeliner and shit. I'm like, oh, come on,
okay, dude, give them a shot or two, and they'll not only will they like their actual body language change, but their whole like viewpoint on the shoot will change too.
I will say there's something to be said about doing those types of shoots and establishing that repertoire like at school, because like now I'm just like, I did it for now 2 years going on with like sorority shoots with grads or like recruitment, whatever, composites even, like so now I'm like the photo guy, right? To these girls, and like you have that relationship now, it's like robust, and like they're gonna keep hitting up their girls and like shit, and like dude, it's just sick.
That's how
Just
it goes, bro.
shooting these fucking sorority girls.
That's how it goes. That's what I was doing for a bit then. And
it's honestly such a plug, like literally.
Yeah, no, it's a little. And then the funny part is when you got the dudes who were like talking all this shit like back like your freshman sophomore year, and then by junior senior year you're doing all this stuff with the girl.
Yeah, I wanted to bring up this image, especially with the West 4th. Was this? Did you have a filter on here to get that look, or was this added in post?
No, that's with the Prism
Gotcha.
filter.
Yeah,
It hits like a nice glow. Yeah, the glow is absolutely beautiful. I love it.
It looks like in camera.
Yeah,
Like it was like maybe something with a lens or something.
yeah, that's what it is. Exactly. It's just the filter thrown on top of the lens, and I did all my West 4th. Actually, that's a lie. A majority of my West 4th photos last year were shot with that filter on because it just like it made the glow of the jerseys pop and made the lighting around it pop.
Here going on.
Yeah.
It's so sick. It's like it's soft too. You know, like everything looks softer, which is like you don't always want the sharp.
No,
shit, right?
No, and like the way I also edited this differently because with all my West 4th images from last summer were edited with a film filter, like a film preset.
Filter.
A film preset.
Oh, preset.
Yeah. Versus my normal one, which is definitely a little bit colder and it has like sharper blacks. This one, or like a little more contrast. This has less contrast. It's definitely more on the yellower side of the spectrum, and I thought it like brought out the colors and stuff.
I like that though. I like in general warmer shit.
Yeah, I'm big
like,
cool tones.
Really?
Guy. Yeah.
I was like,
yeah.
I mean, I'm sure you could tell from the set. Like everything's like brown and like I don't know. That has always been my thing. Like with the greens and shit. Earth tones.
Yeah.
Almost like.
Yeah.
They literally call me because my name's Tony. They call me Earth Tone.
Earth tone. Yeah. All right.
Because like, bro, I'd pull up to like RC Dugan's with like a brown shirt, like brown fucking shoes.
Yeah.
And then like these jeans are like, bro, why are you wearing all these
Earth
brown
tones
colors?
back out now.
Bro, this is like a.
Changing your name.
Bro, there's a picture of me with like I'm just like at the bar, bro, and it's just like I'm not. I don't know I'm being photographed. It's just like earth tone.
Earth
Just,
tone.
like, earth tone in this fucking natural habitat. No, this is fucking funny. So this was the motion shot I wanted to bring up. Like it's that to me is like makes so like the feeling is like it's like intensity. You know what I mean? Like you can't get that from like a still shot. And like does you send this to them like these stylistic ones? Like
So with West 4th, it's was a little different because last year I was just kind of starting out, right? So I needed to prove my worth, so to speak. So West 4th, you can just literally show up. They get games almost every single day, and you just kind of show up and do it. You know, it's open to everybody. You walk on. It's like a West 4th is a unique court because it's just the court, and literally the sidelines are the fences.
Okay.
It's called the cage, and there's only one area where that's meant for like viewers, and so you sit there, and like usually there's one or two other photographers there, and you just kind of do your thing. Now for something like this, I had spoken with their social media people, and so we were doing like joint posts, and they were using them for that. But yeah, I mean, it's getting to once you have a little more experience, then you can go into things like giving them to brands and stuff like that, and letting them use it. But yeah, for the West 4th stuff that I was doing, I moved on to actually other leagues now in the city that I shoot that are more uptown that have a little bit better talent. If I do say so.
That's fair. That's fair. I mean, you got to move where the talent's at.
Yeah. Like I'm shooting a lot of Dykeman now, or Rucker Park, which are two of the more famous courts in the city, and they're like so far from my apartment. It takes me like an hour and a half to get there because they're all the way at 207th Street.
Yeah.
But this one's actually lucky too because it's the ball is what's in focus. So everything. This is another instance of like I had the right idea with what I wanted to do, and everything just worked out perfectly. And
so essentially what that is you match this. Obviously you didn't like think of like when you were doing it like to match the speed of the ball, but essentially like technically speaking, the camera matched the motion of the ball, how fast the ball was going, while everyone else was going fast.
Yes,
right?
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
And so for this, like if I were to go through settings, I dropped it down to usually like 1/40th to 1/60th. Range, and then I would have to crank everything else, and this is where like the ND filter would come in handy because I could not shoot this if I didn't have a filter on. So I'd probably have the ND filter maybe at like 2 or 3 stops, and then my f-stop would probably be to get all of this in focus so to speak, would be probably like 5 to 6, and then my ISO would probably be cranked down pretty low.
I love the blue hues. Like they're kind of like more on like the cyan-y feeling, and the pink goes nice, like cotton candy.
Yeah, when they got nice jerseys to it, like early. Yeah, that's one of those things where like they do a lot of that work. That's great. I actually just took a really cool one that I like. At the opening of the Nike events this summer, back like 2 or 3 weeks ago. That's another one that's like it worked out really well. Like the things that are in focus needed to be in focus were in focus.
And this is all bursts.
It's all
this in high plus, right?
Yeah. So not even high. My camera doesn't have high plus. It's just
really?
High. It's just
That's crazy because mine's not even like an R and has it.
Yeah. No, mine's because it's old. It's from 2014, so it's going on 10 years.
Because this was 18.
Yeah.
So they took 4 years to make a fucking Mark III.
Well, I think this is what just the S.
This is just 3. This is supposed to be the hybrid model.
3, yeah. So the R, if I had to guess, the R3 probably has high plus.
Yeah.
So there was a jump in speed between the two.
Well, I'm saying this one has high plus.
Yeah. And it came out. That's the same generation as the R3. So.
Okay, so you're saying, all right, that makes sense.
Yeah. So
I wish it was the S.
Yeah.
The fucking S is crazy. If I had the S, I wouldn't upgrade to the FX3. They're essentially the same fucking camera.
Yeah.
But I legit have to. The only thing saving me is the monitor because it's recording 10-bit, but it's like kind of 8-bit upgraded to 10-bit. It's like weird. It's like it's the color signs is 10-bit.
Yeah.
But it's from an 8-bit source. It's like a little better. I don't really know the specifics too much, but then you also get the SSD, and it records ProRes codec instead of I think it's like XP, some stupid shit. But the file handling on the timeline on ProRes is so much better on Macs because it's native. So that was a big plus for me. That's kind of what kept me at bay from the fucking the getting a new one. But I probably still fucking
just upgrade probably. I'm in the market for something. It's expensive. I gotta make time for it.
Telling me. Here's what we were talking about.
Yeah, and this is another one where it's just like I put over a film preset just because I wanted to bring out those colors a lot more. Like my film preset in particular makes everything
rich,
a ton more violent. Yeah, or vibrant. I mean, not violent. And this was just like, this is one of those moments where it's just like you're just messing around with your friends. Who cares if they're not model quality, so to speak? But it's just like you just get them comfortable and you just have some fun and you do.
Alcohol or no?
No, bro. That's super fun, bro. That's the best part.
I like the white box border.
Yeah.
I think it just like adds almost like I don't even know how to. It's like I can't put it to words. It just like looks more like it was like taken on like a fucking Polaroid.
Yeah.
The Polaroids have the
And like that's something that like I used to do that a ton. And I kind of stopped because it was like there are people who do that. Like there are creators out there who like every picture that they put out is on a white background. They have that white going on, and I think it looks great. But also then sometimes when you do that, just like it takes away depending on how you get that white background on there, it might compress the image a bit and it kind of messes with the quality.
Yeah,
sometimes.
But you know what? It makes you like step back and like look at it whole.
Yeah.
Because like sometimes on your phone, the image won't even be like in a full.
No.
Like you'd have to scroll and see like the bottom part of it or the top part of it. This like you just see it for what it is.
Yeah, and it looks like you're like a frame. Like it looks like it's framed.
Have you ever printed like a photo of yours and hung it up?
Yeah, I have in my room right now in my apartment. I have 8 of them. I'm big on the whole. Like you never went to. You were never in my room at Kern. My room at Kern was covered in.
Which room was it?
It was the one that downstairs, right next to the bathroom.
Okay.
Not the big one, the smaller one that's like faces the backyard.
Woosh's
room.
Yeah.
And literally every single wall was covered in disposable images of everyone. It's like it was.
So Kyler took it after you.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
makes
and
sense.
that I'm like big on the whole like I'll have other people's work up for sure, but like your own biggest supporter's got to be you.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? And so like I'm gonna have my own work up there if I'm like proud of it. Like there's no reason to hide it. So like I've got other people's work up in my room right now, but then I've got like 8. They're not even that big. They're not huge. I think it's 8 by 11, 8 by 12 images that are just like printed out.
I'd love to make like some like sort of like style like mood board from like pictures I have. They're all kind of like the same colors.
Yeah.
Like have it like split up like reds, blues.
Yeah.
That'd be fucking sick.
Yeah. No, I mean what I really want to do is I want to host a photo gallery soon. I don't know how I'm gonna make it happen, but I'm gonna do something like that.
Hell yeah.
And because a good buddy of mine who does concert photography, just did something like that. He opened up he bought his own studio. Rented his own studio and then decided to host his own like photo gallery there. And it was like a cool reception. You know, like, you bring in like a bunch of your friends, a bunch of people that you know from like the industry and whatnot. You throw like a bar together or something like that. Have a DJ come. It's a cool event.
Absolutely. I think that'd be a great idea.
Yeah, but
making that happen.
I highly recommend printing out your own stuff though. It's well worth it. It's like it's your work, you know. Like
I think I don't give myself enough credit for
yeah,
for sure.
Yeah. Well, they say the chef doesn't like his own cooking, so you know, like take pride in your work. You spend time on it. Yeah,
that's something I have to start doing.
Yeah.
I think we probably went on this shot. Let me see. It's titled Concert Glow. Not sure what this hyperlink to. Show out. This.
Oh yeah.
Is this? That was not artificial either.
No, that's
fucking crazy.
That's straight out of the lens.
That looks sick. Cause like, see how everyone's heads are like, there's like rim.
Mm-hmm.
That really like it stood out. Like how many people. It emphasized like how many people are in the crowd.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean the perks of concert photography is that like due to the lighting scenario. Now this is Teddy Swims, and he's a big enough artist that he's able to travel with his own stage setups and stuff, which makes my life 15 times easier. Because when you have an artist that puts effort into the proper lighting, it makes your job so much easier. Like I shot Flo Millie. She just showed up. It was her on stage with the regular theater lighting, and like it was fine. It was just like whatever. But when he came in, like this is all like everything that you see, all those lighting panels and stuff. Those are his that he brought.
That's crazy.
And it just completely changed.
I love like the dots. Makes it look like super cool.
Awesome. But it was one where like I had to mask out the crowd obviously to make them a little bit darker. And bring down their colors a bit. Had to drop the highlights, but it's all like the artificial smoke or the smoke machines that they pump in there, and then like people smoking in the crowd. But that's what that like. I don't know if you've ever seen the old like old sports images from like the 50s or 60s. They have this crazy smoky hue to them, and it makes them look beautiful. It's because people were smoking in the arenas. Yeah, and like having that effect really helps diffuse the light, makes some cool options.
Was it orange to begin with, or did you change the hue on this?
No, that's. I mean, I might have brought down the colors a little bit just to make them a little more even, but that was just the light he was running with. That's
sick.
Yeah.
Definitely a favorite of mine right here.
Yeah, no, it's a good one. I'll actually try not to, especially with concert stuff. Like I will try not to. I'll sometimes take away some of the vibrance of the colors and make them a bit more like flat, but I won't change the colors too often. Like I won't have it
like
be
the red, right?
Yeah, like if I have the red, I'll just make it like I might make it more like yeah, like I'll balance it a bit, but I won't have it be like a red photo that turns blue. If that makes sense.
Yeah, no, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Biggest inspirations. I mean, you went through like you have that guy that does the ski, the nightclub guy with the 0.8 lens. Right?
Yeah, I'll tell you right. I was actually looking. I was looking at a few and I've got them, but I'll send you their Instagrams or whatever later on. But there's Andrew Miller who does the ski and snowboard stuff. There's this kid named Sam Damashek who does these crazy film portraits of people. And, like, his stuff is a bit more racy, we'll say. I don't mean, like, race in, like, color, but, like, racy is in, like, it's, like, people, like, it's a lot of, like, the girls are, like, a little more scantily clad. You know what I mean?
I got
But he works with some crazy models out in L.A., and his stuff is just, like, it's beautiful. It's a whole different style of photography than I've seen. It's nuts. He's actually younger than me, so he's probably between us, and he's, like, crazy successful. There's this dude named Kojiro who does these crazy sports images that I haven't seen before. And there's my friend of mine named Sam Sue, who's a young and up-and-coming photographer, and I want everyone to keep their eye on him because that kid's going to blow up.
I get in your seat?
Yeah, he would actually love to do it. I could definitely put you guys on. Yeah, because he's crazy. He's doing stuff for Nike Track right now. And yeah, he's like real talented. But those are all people that like I look at their work and I'm like, okay, like this is what I'm trying to exemplify when I put my own stuff out. And like something I think about while I'm shooting too.
Yeah. So, yeah, I think it's all those like little intricacies that like you can get from others that like you can combine or like mesh.
Yeah. That's the best way to get, that's how you find new ideas, you know what I mean? Like everything's already been done, like I said. So it's just like finding new ways to put your own spin on it.
So I had some questions about your music video that you shot.
Yeah, yeah.
Weird America.
Yeah.
And there was a shot in particular. So what camera did you shoot? Did you shoot it in the R2?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. Two of them actually.
What was like the pre-production and like planning aspect?
So music videos are a little more intense because it's like, it depends. This one was a little different because they wanted to have a little bit of a storyline in there. So we had to figure out how we were going to have the music and then have the storyline of the video sort of appear throughout the video. So it was a lot of us working with the band's manager and getting all those details flattened out. So it was myself and then a good buddy of mine from Hofstra, this kid named Chris Hunter, who's a very talented editor. And he was helping me, you know, through this whole, because for both of us, it was like our first fully directed by us music video. So we were going through all those steps. And so it was just a lot of like planning out, one, finding location, two, planning out what we wanted the storyline to be. Especially with the location that we chose had 3 different rooms. So there was a blue room, a black room, and then a red room. And we wanted it to be like heaven and hell. And then the black room was like the purgatory between the two of them. And the storyline that was in it was about a guy who was having like drinking issues and was like his life was kind of crumbling and whatever. So it was a lot of figuring out those shots. And then when we got there, we had a little bit of a crew with us because it was for Unispan Records at Hofstra. So like you have a bunch of kids there that are going to be part of your crew and that are there to like help you and assist you and stuff like that. So it was just like once we got the lighting set up, we went through each room, shot them. You don't shoot them sequentially, so we shot whatever we needed to in each room and then just moved on. And then Chris just kind of took it from there. I mean, the kid's a whiz when it comes to editing. So I just kind of like
editing's a whole other ballgame. Because I've always been like I kind of wanted to be like the one-stop guy for like that, but like you really need to specialize in like certain aspects of production if you want to like get a good role in something. Because like I think my strength is like shooting, but I'm like editing. I'm like good, but like I'm not like this guy was fucking great.
Yeah.
And I've seen like people also like with weddings, like you like bring up weddings again. People will just throw it to an editor, and the editor will just sauce it up, but the editor doesn't shoot.
No.
So it's like
no.
It's almost like you're going to see more success that way, but like my ego's like, nah, I want to like shoot it, edit it.
No,
like
me
you're
too.
not gonna be able to get super good at both.
No.
Unless like you're fucking like, you know what I mean? Like you're doing this shit like 24 hours a day.
Yeah, and like I feel that same way also with like people who are like hybrid shooters now. Like there's such a call for people who can do photo and video, and I think that it's one of those things where like you can do them both okay, and like you know you still probably excel more than the average person in both. But like if you really want to get good at one, you have to specialize. And now you can like have different genres within that. You know, like you can shoot different types of videos. I can take different types of photos, but if you really want to get good at video, focus on video. If you really want to get good at photo, focus on photo. And then you can do other things as well, you know, like for fun, but don't expect it's very hard to find someone whose video quality is at the same quality as their images or vice versa.
I agree, and that's like why I wanted to change cameras, because now I'm just like full video.
Yeah.
At this point, like I still do photos for like, you know, I'll have like engagement shit, and just like occasional, but yeah, I'm just starting to hone in like more in video, because that's like where I see like my passion lying more in. And like you've been saying, like you can be a hybrid shooter, but if you want to really like be that one guy, like that's the guy. Like, you got to be in what side of the.
Believe me, it's a tough battle that I fight too, because I'm just like, dang, I wish, you know, like I want to.
Yeah, everything's videos now.
Yeah, everything is videos now, but you know, it's like there's a group in the city called the Respective Collective. Bad name. But they're really successful when it comes to the concert stuff. Like they do a lot. Like they work with a lot of people and a lot of venues and festivals and stuff like that. But they're constantly putting out calls for hybrid shooters, and they like will not even like they have very few people on their team that can't do both. And like sometimes I feel like the quality suffers a bit because of it. But I mean, it's just like with the way things are going, people expect you to be able to do both, and it's just a weird thing. It's like hard to tell someone who doesn't understand intricacies of them that you can't. Like I don't know if you've ever been like on a video shoot and you had someone be like, "Here, take our picture," and you're like,
"Yeah, I'm like my settings are fine for video." Like I mean, I put like if I expect that, I'll put like the memory, because like I have 2 memory,
the preset ones.
Yeah, so like, but it's a little slow, and some things you can't change. Yeah, like it's weird. Like some things like you have to leave stagnant in both. You can only like change like the shutter, the picture profile shift. Like there's like other things that like it won't cross over, like that you can't change in between. So it's just a bitch, like, because I also have like my monitor all set up, like everything's like set up. I can't like just go on my viewfinder like this with my whole like, bro, look how much shit is on that thing just for the podcast. Is like,
oh, dude,
bro, it's like you want me to pick that up now and take a picture of you? It's like I'd rather just have a frame of you in 4K and just screen grab it.
Yeah, bro, I won't even do that. Sometimes like this is gonna sound so bad, but sometimes like if I'm at a concert or something like that, and like even if I'm shooting photo, like just straight photo, sometimes my I'm just not in a position to take a picture of someone, and the way you take a picture of me, and I'll just go, okay, like whatever, like I'll take a picture, but I'm not gonna it might not be good. Like I'll just kind of take it to appease them and then just go on about my way because they're not gonna.
Oh, I have
Not gonna
that
see
shit
it
at
again.
bro at the Hofstra. Fucking not Mulligans anymore, not Cash. They're both fucking gone. Now they have Shake, bro. I don't know if you've heard.
Which one is it in? Is it in where Catch was or where?
It's in neither. It's actually the other building, the gray one that was untouched.
The one down the street that was
So-
closer to campus,
So
or
Courtenay
oh, so it's farther
going down there.
farther from campus.
No, closer.
Is
So
it like
I'm trying to explain. It's like there was a gray building that was not touched. It was before Cash. It's a gray one on the
on
corner.
the other side of Popeyes? Did it used to be blue? Was it Olay? Where Olay was?
I'm gonna pull up right now.
Because yeah, I know there was. Does it have like a half indoor, half outdoor, and it's like a
Yes.
wraparound bar
Yes,
type deal? Yeah, I think that's where Olay was.
it's on a corner.
Yeah. It was.
360 view during ready Google Map. Oh, fuck you. That's fucking. Here's probably a better photo of it. Of course not. Shake. Let me get a maps on here, bro. I'm gonna tell you where this shit is. It's closer.
Yeah.
It's a lot closer.
Is it like right on the other side of Popeyes
So by other side, you meaning like close
to
like,
campus?
Yes.
Yeah, it's where it was
Dunkin'.
Olay when I was there.
They ready?
Well, actually, it was before that. It was Bangers before that, and then that closed down, and then it was Olay, and then that closed down, and then it sat vacant for like a long time.
Bro, this shit is just bugging the fuck out right now. It's literally like, if I were to give you like a map, it's Courtenay Road.
Yeah.
That's where it's off of.
Okay.
Yeah, give me this shit. Give me this shit.
Yeah. Yeah, that's it. Blue. Yeah, that was Olay.
Okay. Oh,
yeah.
all right. That makes.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
I didn't know what the fuck Olay was.
Yeah, Olay was it was open for like 2 weeks, and then it got shut down right before COVID.
Bro, is it good?
Yeah, it was great, bro. We had a great night there, and then it got shut down like a week after it being open. Actually, a bunch of my shoots that I've done are in the back of like are in this back
Oh, yeah.
lot area because it was empty for the longest time during COVID, and so we were like,
Yeah.
we stole a lot of
So this was the place Shake is at.
Yeah.
So I would shoot like the DJ guy there because he was a student at Hofstra.
Mhm.
And I'd have people like you were saying like come like a picture. I'm just like,
Yeah,
or sometimes I'll just say no.
yeah. I sometimes I'll be like, sorry guys, can't right now.
Like I'm doing video. You know?
Yeah, I'll have people who, or I'll be like, and this is another way to like finesse some followers if you ever need. If you act like you're taking pictures of people, and they're like, how do we get the pictures? I'm like, oh, follow my Instagram. I'll DM them to you.
There you go.
I'm not-
Or you could also do like, you have to follow me if we want a picture.
Yeah. No, that's what you need. Tips
Bro.
and tricks.
So I had a specific point in the video. That's not the global shutter on. 1 minute 33 seconds. You know, fuck it. We'll just go through it
Yeah.
here. You want to like explain certain things throughout it.
Yeah. So I didn't love the story that they wanted. I was like very like whatever, but the guy's supposed to be like a clown. He's supposed to be dressed up like a circus like person, and he's got this idea that I don't know, like he's in like a purgatory space.
Growing.
Yeah. So I love like little jump cuts like that.
I like
Where,
the
like,
font.
Yeah.
Yeah,
We
the
want like
jump
an 80s theme
energy.
or 80s, 70s, 80s theme to it. And so you'll see like there's a lot of just like it hopping around between different points of the video. So he's supposed to be in like heaven right now
Okay.
in this blue room with like the sun behind him.
Yeah.
And so like he's still like in a good place. And then as the video goes on, he's gonna end up downstairs in the red room,
Okay.
which is hell. And this is like the purgatory space in between. And so that's like a mask where you had him on both sides.
Oh.
Like it's like
Yeah. That's fairly easy to do, right?
Yeah,
Just
it's-
split the frame.
yeah, it's not hard. Yeah, or like things like this, bro. Just doing what you can on a budget, so to speak, balling on a budget. You know,
Yeah.
like
That's just a lot of masking,
yeah,
to do, right?
yeah. So this was all Chris. I was the one who like sort of chopped up the storyline of like how we wanted the shots to go once we had them, and then Chris was like, I got an idea for this. Like, let's put them in space, so to speak, and like have this crazy like 70s thing going on.
Yeah, with the colors popping.
Yeah, and I was like, run it, bro. Like, dude, do your thing. And he absolutely knocked it out of the park.
Yeah.
So that's supposed to be the hell room, yeah. And then the thing about music videos is it's a lot of just shooting the same stuff just over and over and over again. You know, like by the time you're done shooting a music video, you're sick of the song.
Are they playing the live music while recording?
Yeah. And then we threw the actual song in on top of it. But
as a lock-on shot there.
Yeah, the POV.
How'd you rig that one out?
We literally had him holding the camera.
Oh.
Yeah, like he was literally holding it by the lens and just like, I'm like on the other side of it, like making sure that he's staying in frame.
Yeah. I did that with like a mini tripod. I put pressure and just like kind of like kept it like tight with it.
Yeah. Yeah, it's just doing what you can, bro. Like, you know, a lot of the stuff, like, obviously, if you had a bigger rig, like, you'd be able to do a lot of them a lot more effective, like, cleaner, so to speak.
Yeah,
But just working with what you have, you know? And this was just masking and mirroring the frame.
See a lot of stagnant shots, like tripod shots.
Everything was, and it wasn't even like, I don't even know if we had an actual tripod. We were just setting up, like, on crates. And just threw the camera down on a crate just to make sure it wouldn't move.
Yeah.
But with the limited budget that we had, we knew that we were going to have to rely on something like that, you know?
Yeah, but I mean, it's crisp. Like, colors are good. It's kind of like kept like a neutral grade on it.
Yeah, like we just...
Yeah, it was good.
Yeah, so... It was fun. Then you can see we had a lighting issue there. It's like flickering.
Yeah, I saw it.
Playing. Yeah.
That was a good fuck. That's like having an L with a flipper. That's cool.
Yeah.
I like that.
Yeah, and then the rest is just him doing his thing until he passes out. And yeah, so I mean, it was just like, it's one of those things where it's like we had a little minimal budget. They wanted a decent storyline, and so we just did the best that we could to make it happen. Would you
say the biggest challenge was like production wise on shoot? Like, was it the lighting? What was it?
Yeah, I would say it was lighting and making sure that everyone, because it was a smaller set, so like a smaller like physical location, so making sure that everyone was not only in frame but not blocking each other. Yeah. Make sure that obviously you have a lot of people who've never been on camera before, so it's like making sure that they're ready to work and like know what's going on and stuff like that.
You ever like have like camera shy people? Or,
and like the crew that we were working with, like a lot of them had never worked on a set before, you know, so it was just like keeping people out of the way, making sure wires weren't getting crossed. It was a lot of myself and this other kid Chris, because he was also a film major with me. Just like running around and getting everything set up. So, I mean, but by far the trickiest thing was pre-production.
Website, you always said your website was on Squarespace.
Yes.
But you're looking to change that.
Yeah, I would like, I mean, like, I think I'm at the point now where like maybe I just don't know where I would go. I think maybe I need to just kind of like, what I need to do is just spend time and just like actually mess around.
It's always that thing where like you don't want to fucking do that shit.
Yeah,
like,
dude, it's like a chore. Like I'm like, all right, like I know I need to fix my portfolio. I mean, it's not bad, but just like updating it's fine. Like one thing, like putting images on there, easy. But actually updating the layout and like the actual look of it.
There's also like a lot of restrictions with Squarespace.
Yes, there is.
Templates and like I'll try to do shit that I could do in like Illustrator or like some like even like I don't know if you know Figma. It's like a web design. Yeah. I did that shit for one of my internships. Like with I would literally make a website and like send it to their development team. It's a really cool system because you could literally it was just like Illustrator. You make the whole thing and obviously nothing's coded. Yeah. And then you give that to them, and they're able to code based on the Figma file.
That's kind of fire.
Really cool.
That's kind of fire.
But that had so much freedom. And then I go to Squarespace. It's like you have the grid.
Yeah.
It's like, bro, what am I? It's like so rigid.
Yeah. No, because I was using WordPress before that.
WordPress is good.
It's okay. WordPress is a bit more like, you can like drag and drop stuff where you want it. Now, I feel like a happy medium between the two is great because having a template that points you in the right direction and locks your, like, we'll say like a picture, right? Like it'll lock your images in. You can only put it in certain spots. Is good because then it's not like with WordPress I was at least sitting there and like trying to make sure everything was lined up perfectly, you know. And I'm sure there might have been an easier way to do it, but so Squarespace helps with that, but then the problem with Squarespace is I'm locked into the templates, and I don't have the creativity and the freedom that WordPress does. So like having
man.
having like a happy medium would be great.
You could also like hire a fucking developer.
Yeah, and like I thought about that, and then I'm like, I don't want, if I have a site that's built from scratch, I'm gonna be like, I don't know if I necessarily want to have it be overly complicated to work on myself. You know, so
I don't want to like pay someone every time I want to change something.
Yeah, exactly. So like I'm at the point right now where like I just need to update the Squarespace one and break it down a little bit more, and I think I'll just run with that. Yeah,
I got you. It's definitely like there definitely needs to be something out there that like is in between Squarespace.
You use Squarespace as well?
Yeah.
All right, this video is not sponsored by Squarespace.
Yeah, fuck that. Landing page, you said just because you have no text, it's just the images because it really brings you into that.
Yeah. Based on what I've seen, also like for portfolio stuff, I just look at what other people have. You know what I mean? Like someone set the tone, and it's just like taking what they do and applying it to myself. And also, I don't like anything. Like I said, I don't like anything overly complicated. So that's why I got a white background. I have very simple fonts. Don't have a lot of colors or anything like that. It's just here's the images. Here's what I want you to see. Take care of it.
Have you ever thought of like a logo or like a signature type of thing?
I did actually have one. I have it tattooed on me somewhere. Really? Yeah, it was like these two cross eyes that I used to just draw on things. Yeah. And it was like something stupid, but it was just like unique to me, I guess. And I liked it for a bit. I've stopped since using it. But yeah, I mean, I think that
face.
Yeah, like, it was just, I don't know what I would do now at this point. I feel like the name itself is like kind of like enough of a shtick that I can kind of run with that.
As long as you have like something.
Yeah.
Like for me, like, oh shit. Let me show you my home screen right now. So I just made. Can I like stay up? I'll just show you the image. But I really like the abstract, like, oh, what the fuck?
Oh, you frozen.
Oh, shit. I think it actually fucking hard parrot off right there. But I have like I really like that grungy, like, I don't know how to explain it. Like, it looks like it was like stamped on or something, like very rough. Ribbon. So I made this lock screen just in Photoshop because I don't know. I don't really know what it is. But like, this is like my kind of logo. I don't really use it much. Yeah. But this eye I really liked. Not Illuminati, but it was like, I don't know, like floral accents and shit. Yeah. Like the eyes, like my vision. Yeah. And I don't know, bro. Like this is from fucking
Metro Boomin album.
Yeah. Sword, like, bro. I don't know, bro. Like, it's just cool. Like it just seems right. It's like grungy, you know.
I mean, it's like, well, a lot of this stuff. I feel like obviously there's a lot of science. Like we're not a corporation, so like you have bigger companies that have so much science behind the graphics that they use and whatnot. We're obviously not at that point. So just like do something that makes you happy, you know what I mean, that you like I have like my business cards are one thing that I'm really happy with because I designed them to look like a film, like a piece of film. And so like you have something like that that's also kind of unique, and you know it kind of has your own flair to it. So it's just like with that, the portfolio logo is just like, as long as it's like you that's all that matters. Because also like that's what all the art stuff is really about, you know, like it's just like doing your own thing, your own vision, and just like making it work. So
just ride with it, bro. Yeah, like, that's like, bro, like I mean, that's the whole like growth pattern you saw with like even in college, like just being you, just fucking
let your own voice come through. I think it's funny now. Like I had someone come up to me, they're like, oh yeah, I can always tell like your photos from other people's, and like
that's all you need.
Yeah, and I'm like, all right, you know, like I got my own style, which like I don't know if I necessarily know what that is because it's like I'm actively doing it, I'm not thinking about it, but whatever it is, it seems to be.
I mean, bro, like as long as you have someone feeling something through your shit, and like they're able to be like, yo, that's Robby. Yeah, you know, like that's fucking sick. Yeah. Now this shit's like dead right now. What the fuck? I have too many shits open.
Yeah.
We gonna go Chrome. Yo, Chrome eats your GPU, dude. Yeah. I be on activity monitor, and it'll be using like gigabytes of RAM for no reason.
Yeah, I don't use Chrome. I just stay on Safari. Just keep it
native.
Yeah, I'm big on the KISS method. Keep it simple, stupid. That's what my dad always said.
Not bad. All right.
Yeah,
I gotta start doing that.
Yeah.
All right. File. Where's the fit? There we go. All right. Outreach. I mean, do you have any things like you avoid doing when it comes to client outreach? That like doesn't work. Like you can't just like really like DM someone, hey, I want to shoot your thing. Like,
yeah. It's definitely, if you're gonna write something, to reach out through email, make it good. Like I think that's the biggest thing that gets people turned away is when, like, you have to understand there's another person on the other side of that email, and that person probably worked really hard to get to wherever they were. So like, let's say it's a concert, for example, right? I'm reaching out to the manager of Lil Tecca. That person doesn't have time for bullshit. You know what I mean? Like, my email has to be not only intriguing but clear, concise, to the point. Let them know what I'm trying to do, why I'm trying to do it, who I'm with, get done. Like.
You also think there's like you need to obviously add like a value prop. Like, why even talk to me in the first place?
Yes, yeah, exactly. And I find that actually, it's gonna sound wild, a lot of my emails nowadays, especially for stuff like that, ChatGPT. Give ChatGPT the proper prompt to work on and like to work with, and it will absolutely write you something phenomenal. And then obviously you can like make it a little bit more human and not AI sound.
Yeah, but like, I mean, bro, people are like scared to be like, oh, it's not authentic, but bro, I mean, even like social media stuff, like captions or something.
Oh yeah, dude.
Like ideas. I'll literally like just brainstorm on ChatGPT, like funny content ideas for like camera, person, or like a specific camera. It's crazy how much you can get from that. And it's free.
I would use it as like an assistant rather than like, it's not replacing you, but like it's assisting you.
It's helping you when you fucking have that, creative block. You see most of the clientele's on the email or the DMs? Or a mix?
A mix of both / in person. I think a lot of the valuable connections that I've made, like really valuable ones, have been through in-person stuff, and then later following up with DMs or emails. That's like the biggest thing. You gotta be personable to do this job. Like you gotta be able to walk up and talk to people and like at least be, or when someone comes up and talks to you, at least be like friendly enough to keep a conversation going.
People are quiet.
Some people are very quiet, and like
like the classic photographer like stereotype, like the weird kid in high school that takes pictures of like the girls. It's like like smile for pic. Like there's a lot of people that are genuinely like that.
There are a lot of people like that, bro. And like you can't be like that. You gotta be outgoing, and like you can tell like the people who I see who struggle the most are. Like there's I feel like there's certain stereotypes around artists that they've got to be like these mad like people who have issues and whatnot, but like go out, do like go. I don't think so. You have to be comfortable talking to people because you're gonna be in settings where it's going to be a lot of people. Like there's going to be a lot of people that, and like especially if you're the only photographer there's gonna be a lot of people that want to talk to you, that want to get their picture taken, whatever, and a lot of people that might want to hire you. So you got to be able to be presentable, always show up on time, be presentable, like look nice, make sure you look the part, and really feed into that, and like people will kind of gravitate towards that, and you got to be personable enough to make it happen. So
I think like people like working with who they like. You got to be like, I mean, to an extent, like you just have like a fucking phenomenal work, but also like to get to that point, you just also have to be like a fucking easy person to work with.
Yeah, bro. It's a what you know for sure, but then it's also a who you know.
And I think it's like 70-30 though. Or what you know. I'm sorry, who you know.
100%. Because they get you in the door. I mean, I can't tell you how many times I've seen opportunities that like I feel like I would have been qualified for. That a person was just like, oh yeah, my boy over there picked up a Canon Rebel T3 the other day, and we're gonna let him do it. Or like, all right, like it's just good. That's his boy, so like I can't do anything about it. But it's.
I mean, there's some clients that will also like they'll like understand it, like the value like of what you know as well. Like for example, like the production company I work with, the Nick's place, that he works at. We did you saw like the cricket stadium thing that we were doing. And the reason they hired us is the Land Tech is the company. They do like all the turf. Well, it wasn't even turf, it was real grass. They had to ship that shit from Florida up here.
That's crazy.
Grass, like real grass.
Crazy.
They got paid millions of dollars just to take care of the grass, and it was all real.
Wow.
So there were like multiple companies working, like the bleachers companies. There was obviously the sports company, but they were just on the turf, the actual grass. All real grass. Is crazy. They needed a specific grass for like, I don't know if you're like too familiar with how cricket's played, but like in the middle they have like the where they fucking pitch that shit, and it needs to be like very firm and like bounce, like and the ball needs to be able to bounce a certain way. So they need Bermuda grass, but it can only be grown in like Florida climates. And they have to ship it up on fucking semi fucking
that's crazy.
Trucks up here, bro. And the challenges that they face is crazy, but. The reason why they hired us to like do something like this was because of like because they've been through production companies before on their other jobs, but they loved our energy and editing and like especially like how we were on set, like how we were easy to work with, we were funny, And that I think is it's underscored by a lot of people. It's like if you're a corporation and you're having like interviews being shot at your office, you want like people that are like, you know, fun and get the best out of the interview. Because if you're able to make the other client on the other, like the one you're shooting, you know, fucking actually like, laugh and be joyous, it benefits the company. Because in the video, they're gonna look fucking crazy.
Oh yeah, dude. Oh yeah, and I can't say how many times also like I've worked with people, like myself, like they've hired me, but they've just been so unenjoyable to work with. You know, like I can try my absolute hardest to talk. Like I see it a lot in the music stuff where like people show up and like they think that they're like hot shit, and it's just like, dude, like, come on, you know, like I don't want to work with you again. You know, like you might try, like money's money, I guess, but like it's like I'm not gonna go out of my way to really put the effort into what like and chase other opportunities with you, because it was just like I had a terrible time doing it.
Yeah, I feel.
You know, so I think it's a lot. Like a lot of people just in general need to keep that kind of stuff in the back of their mind in the creative fields, because it's just like you're gonna be personable first.
Absolutely. In terms of like budgeting, how do you like? What's the mindset behind like how you price? Do you price per hour? Do you do it by project?
So
packages?
It depends. I think it depends on who I'm working with and what I like. Any research that I've done on them beforehand, like if I know that they're going to be able to afford certain things. I'm not afraid to ask people what their budget is first, and then work within their budget if I like really want the opportunity and I don't want to like have money be an issue, you know. But I tend to charge hourly just because I feel like that's the best way to break it down for people. Because like I think some people, if I'm like, all right, let's say they hire me for 3 hours, right? And I'm not saying this is my rate, but let's say it's 3 hour shoot and I say $600, includes editing time and photo time, whatever, and it'll get you this many photos. There might be like, oh, $600, but I'm like, all right, you know, it's gonna be $200 an hour for 3 hours. They're gonna be like, oh shit, okay, like it's much easily digestible for them. So
what if it goes over for some reason? Then how would you just kind of leave it?
Yeah, I'll just eat it. I'm not, like I said, I'm not like, obviously the money's great because, you know, you gotta live, but like I'm not, if it's something little like that, if it goes way over, like if it's another hour or two, then I'm charging for sure.
Like
but
30 minutes.
Yeah, I'm like, you know what, because honestly a lot of that time also, like that extra time, that run on time has been because maybe we were chatting, maybe we were making that rapport, you know, like I was trying to calm. Yeah, exactly. So like it's just part of the job. But if it's like a serious amount of time, then I'll be like, all right, yeah, an extra hour, we'll tack on another $100, $200.
And like they might hit you up again because you got that rapport, and you wouldn't like fucking squeeze them for another, like it would be a half hour, be $100. Then be like, you know, think like, oh really, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So exactly. That makes sense.
Yeah, like you got to think with that in mind. Also, like I like to put myself in their shoes, where I'm like, all right, how would I feel if somebody was charging me for whatever it is, you know? Because like every time I've seen, like even on like outside of sports stuff, you look at like a contractor, right, for a house. Every time I see that they like charge like my parents or something like that, something crazy for extra time, my parents are never happy about it. Like why would I, you know? So I try to like keep that in mind as well, because it's like I want to be hired back by this person. I'm gonna make it as easy for them to do that as possible.
I had a case in that. So it was a grad shoot, and this was like it was the client's fault for sure, because I definitely like made it very clear on shoot that we were doing single shots first, and then we were going to do the group shots. As people shuffled in, we were just getting singles done because not everyone arrived on time, obviously, you know, it's given. It was 8 people, and they were each they wanted a big group shots, but I was like, you know, let's do singles as well. Yeah. She was like, all right, cool. So I think it was like $80 a head, right?
Bad.
Which is, it's not bad at all for like 2 hours.
Yeah.
And I was shuffling them in and out. But then they were like, oh, everyone's here, want to do the group shoot. So then I was like, all right, so I'm going to do the ones that I didn't get singles yet after we do the group, because the people just want to get the group, and then the girls can leave, and then the people who didn't get the singles can, you know, shuffle back in.
Yeah.
But one of them, I guess, just like left. But I made it very clear, like, oh, like after we did the group, I was like, all right, anyone who didn't get singles, like stay back with me. We're going to go get them. But when I was editing, because like when you're running, I'm sure you understand this, like you don't remember everyone's face. No, you're not like, oh, I missed that girl. Like when I get to editing and they give me all the names and the faces, I see this girl in the group shot. I'm like, oh shit, I don't have any singles with her.
Yeah.
And I have like the person I was in contact with contact her and be like, oh, like did you stick around for group shots? She's like, oh no, but I was like, I could have just like kept her money, but I gave her like half the price. I think it was like a little more than half. I gave her like $50 back because she missed all those group the single shots, you know. But now like she's, oh, that was very nice, and I'm sure like she would keep that in mind if she was referring me to other people.
Yeah, or at least you'd hope so, you know?
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, that's good business too. Like, I think it's also like, a lot of people look at it, like, it is business, I get it, but like, also like, they're, you know, like, we're people, you know what I mean? Like, you gotta be human to some level. So yeah, like, I probably would have done the same thing. I'd probably been like, you know, yeah.
Because I knew, like, is this $40 really worth it compared to if they hit me up again for like another $800 shoot with like their friends that are graduating next year?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, you have to weigh it out like that. Because I could have kept the fucking $40, but $40 investment for another shoot, like, I'm willing to take that. You know what I mean?
Yeah, dude. Also, like, $40 is like,
yeah, it's not like
it's not the end of the world. Yeah, you know,
like it was like an $800 shoot. I'm like, $40, take it. I'm in college, bro. I'm 20 years old. Like, $800 cash.
That's different. That's
cash. Bro. They all gave me like rolls of fuck. I was just shoving it in my jeans. I'm like, holy shit, I gotta count this.
You take cash on Venmo?
I prefer cash now because Venmo's starting to get a little stricter with like their transaction fees.
Yeah.
So, but I actually just started LLC, and this is something I was actually gonna follow up with. My LLC now, I have to report all my shit. And cash, you can kind of like, you know,
it's cash.
You can report like $200.
Yeah.
I was gonna ask, do you have an LLC set up?
No, I'm actually working on it. It's something
I definitely agree.
Yeah,
you should get one.
Yeah, no, it's something that I've been yelled at a number of times by people for not having one.
Someone had to kick me in the ass too. Like, for my 17th time, I was like, I should probably do this.
Yeah, and I've heard that like right now, like, I met a dude. I was at Tech Week in New York Tech Week back a few weeks ago, and this dude was like, "Yeah, I set one up, you know, super easy through whatever website it was," and I was just like, "Oh." Like, he was like, "Yeah, they do it all for you. They fill out all the paperwork."
They do. It's just like
easy.
Yeah, you just have to pay some upfront fees.
Yeah.
Like I did it through LegalZoom, so if you're registering in New York, it's like $200 for just the LLC. And then you have to get the tax number, which is like, I fucked up because there's a lot of scams out there about like starting your own business and shit. Like, because they charge you $300 to get a tax ID number.
Okay.
But you can get it straight from the IRS website. I didn't know that. I paid $300
All right, well, good
for
to
them
know.
to do it for me.
Yeah.
So if you start your LLC, don't do it on the. I think it's called like. It literally says in like a fine print, this is not a government like website.
Yeah.
But you're not gonna see it. It's the same like color scheme as the IRS website, and it's the first thing that comes up because they pay for the
spot.
First.
Yeah.
So go to irs.gov if you're trying to get a tax number. It's fucking free. I paid $300 for someone to do something for free for me.
Yeah.
And then also when you get your business registered, they give you a bunch of fucking mail things like all these envelopes. Like, oh, you have to pay this fee for this. But I looked all of them up, like envelope by envelope, like, oh, yeah, it's a scam. Like, I got one for like $90 you had to pay by this date, or else your business can be subject to $40,000 in fine.
What the fuck does that mean? Like,
bro, the only thing you have to pay for is the LLC creation. And then obviously you have to pay your taxes because you're going to go to jail.
Did you put yours in New York?
Yes.
All right.
Yeah, I mean, definitely making most of my business.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
But yeah, most of it, like even for the production company that I work for, I'm like a subcontractor, so he pays the LLC.
Smart. Okay.
I'm just trying to get numbers on the board.
Yeah.
At this point, but the cash helps because you can determine how much numbers you want to put on there.
Yeah, and then the write-offs and stuff like that too. Like,
because if you put, that was a big thing. The tax benefits. I wanted to start like, because I'm paying tax on all my fucking photo gear. I wanted to like now get my earnings, deducted from tax.
Yeah.
That shit's fucking so much money, bro.
Oh,
like,
dude.
And like I spend a lot in camera gear, so it's like I might as well make it worth my time.
Oh yeah.
I could have went like you could totally just keep going your route with like the LC, but like once you get like a big check or something, or like you're getting a lot of cash flow like out of nowhere, the IRS could be like, yo, like where's this coming from?
No, yeah, no, 100%, 100%.
So like, and you also have the liability thing. Like if you're on set and someone fucking gets injured, they're gonna come for you.
Yeah, it's not the business. Yeah.
If it was an LLC to come for your LLC's assets, maybe your earnings just get deducted like hella, and you're in the negative, and you have to make up the difference, or they come for like an asset.
Yeah. Well, the LLC becomes its own entity, so it's like it's like its own thing. I don't know. It's something I need to get on. I'm like,
bro, I'm telling you, $200.
Lagging.
LegalZoom.
Okay.
LegalZoom.com. I'll send you the link. It's fucking. I always was like, oh, this is complicated. I want to do this shit.
Yeah.
It's very much like
I was just like, I'm like, I don't want to do it. Yeah.
I know. I completely feel you. And now I have like a whole Excel sheet. I'll actually show you. Like I'm tracking now my expenses versus my revenue because, bro, once you start thinking like that, it's like, oh, it's on my SSD. But I have like a whole Excel sheet now, and it makes you think like a lot more businessy because you're like, okay, like my expense, like, am I making more money than?
Am I in the red? Am I, like,
Exactly, and it really keeps track of your jobs too. It's just like it just helps. It's like it costs more money to do it the right way. but in long term, like it could save your ass.
Yeah, no, being money smart is huge, and something I didn't learn until I was like much later on. I wish I learned it earlier. You know, just like even outside the LSE stuff, just in general. But
we got the last topic here. AI.
Yeah,
I know we touched on it a little bit.
yeah,
but there's obviously the big fear, like, oh, it's gonna eliminate photographers, videographers. Like you have like I think it's called Sora AI or Pika AI, where you can actually now make videos and photos and like they look hyper realistic, and it's honestly a crazy like reality.
Yeah.
But like we've harped on the fact that there's like people involved and like you have to get that trust like this, and like I don't think a computer can do that with someone.
No, and I think the thing with AI is you still, and I think this is the thing like that a lot of people don't realize, that AI still has to be prompted. Like AI can't make something that you don't prompt it. Well, I mean, it can, but like it's not gonna make.
What if it becomes like sentient?
Well, that's like a whole. That's not my
like
problem.
The robots, you know, like the robot Nick. Do you know what we're talking about? You know, like the sentient robot that like can function from AI. It's like
HAL
sentient.
9000 or whatever.
Have you heard of that? No. Is there anything in the military like that that's being happened?
He gets.
Oh, you wouldn't know about it. Maybe there's behind the scenes. I don't know. You never heard of anything like that, like a sentient AI?
I think that's what they're worried about. Like that's
then
the
if
whole.
they're free thinking, it's like fucked. Right?
Yeah, but I think the whole thing is that like if an AI was free thinking, it wouldn't let you know that. Like that's the whole.
With the military, it's the same as what you were saying. It's a tool, you know. So
Yeah.
like they'll use it for a lot of things. It's safe.
Yeah.
Yeah, like
Yeah,
something streamlined.
Yeah, as long as you use it as an assistant. Like I was saying, if there was one thing that it would be great for right now, as far as like we're concerned, it would be like, okay, AI, you go do this
On the editing on the fly.
You go do this while I go handle other things, you know, and like that's like the ideal use
You
for
think there's
it.
gonna be like legislation about that, like banning like AI to like take
Yeah,
like a certain step, like you know what I mean, like.
I think if anything,
It's like I don't know.
yeah. I think if anything, what we'll see is like I don't think it'll be like banned in the sense like they're gonna prevent people from using it. I think it'll just be if you do use it, you're gonna have to let people know that you're using it, because that's the problem is that like now you're starting.
Instagram
to
now
see
has
people-
that.
Well, Instagram has
made
it,
with AI now.
but like, did you see the whole thing with like there was a whole big controversy with like believe it or not Pokemon cards, where they had a whole competition for people to submit artwork for it, and the winners were all AI. Actually, they didn't say that they were using AI, and it was a whole like big scandal because it was like a serious competition that a lot of people had entered.
I actually passed my graphic design class using AI.
Yeah, I mean, I use it all the time, but like, and I think it's a great tool. But it's like when it
gets involved with that, it's fucked up. Like
Yeah.
people put their heart and soul in like making artwork.
yeah, and I think that it's like if you're gonna use it, you can use it and it can be its thing. It's just got to be like here while we're here, you know. And like there can be crossover, but it's like if there is crossover, you have to let people know that.
Yeah, but you know, people are fucking fucked up.
Oh, yeah.
Even on TikTok, I'll see shit like people talking like Elon Musk or fucking like Joe Biden or Donald Trump. They're just like saying some shit, and like you at first you can't tell it's AI, but then like, you look at the comments and then they say it, and then you look it back, and go, okay, that makes sense. But like at first, like holy shit.
Well, dude, I've been seeing stuff recently like where they're like changing historical events. Like they're like I saw one the other day that was Scottie Pippen making the dunk that Michael Jordan made from the free throw line.
Crazy.
And the caption was like, wasn't it? Oh, why did you think it was Michael Jordan that did this? But it looked so real.
That's like really fun.
And it's like changing history. It's like that's the stuff that's like, all right, that's maybe a little troublesome, but like
that's what I'm saying. There needs to be some sort of like legislation where like whatever happens in like events, whatever's altered from AI, like can't like you know what I mean. Like I feel like again, I'm not a fucking politician. I don't know how it's gonna be solved, but
yeah.
Especially like if photography is concerned, is like the whole like you know mid-journey making like a whole image and you know winning money contests like that's
but like I think the one side of that though is like mid-journey, for example, you have to prompt it. Like it can't it, like the image that you want is not gonna be made on its own. Like you have to do something still. So I think there's pros and cons to it, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
like I think I see both sides of the coin. I use it.
Gotcha. So what do you think is like the biggest piece of feedback you received on like your work that's helped you the most, criticism? Because I know for me personally, it took me a little while to like take criticism the right way, because I used to be like you know egotistical and be like fuck you, like that works good. But like do you ever have an instance where like you're like, oh shit, like that actually is like a good pointer?
I would say it would have to be lighting wise. I used to use lighting setups that were very shadow heavy because I just liked the way it looked. But then when I've started learning more and more about how lighting works and like the different ways you can manipulate it to really set a scene, it definitely changed. It definitely changed my images like for the better, and like using light in a good way, and like because like beforehand I feel like it was more inexperienced than anything, but it was like I'd be outside and like I wouldn't care about where the sun was, like I wasn't thinking about it.
Yeah.
And it's like now I've got to think. I'm now thinking about that stuff. Or like when I'm in a studio setting, it's like all right, having proper key lighting, having proper fill lighting, having if I'm setting a scene, having a light coming in through the window, like things like that. Like it's the lighting. I think lighting has definitely been the one where like this kid Kyler looked at me and he was like, dude, like you need to understand how it works and how to manipulate it before you can really take that next step. And so once I did, it really just jumped my game.
More like about lighting, like people think like it relies on the camera to make a good scene look like good, but like even here, this isn't even ideal. Like this lighting, I don't know if you could tell, but like this light temperature and these light temperatures are different.
Yeah.
But you can't match them because they're just not. These don't have Kelvin levels.
Yeah.
You can actually adjust.
Yeah.
It's just like warm, cold, warm, cold.
Yeah.
So like I would have to get like lights like that can have like Kelvin, but it's like, bro, what am I gonna, like, that's like down the line shit. But like you make the best of what you can get and you learn along the way. Like I would love to get a fill light back here to like light up this a little more.
Yeah.
The backdrop, like literally down by the plants.
Yeah.
Like a spotlight type shit.
Yeah.
Just to get the background a little more.
It's just, once you learn how to work it and manipulate it,
It's crazy.
it absolutely changes the game, and it brings your photos to a whole other level, and that's the difference maker.
The depth.
Or the video, it brings it to a whole other level.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
What would you say in like the outlook in like the next 5 years? Where do you want to be, and like how do you see your career like shifting?
Good question. I think ideally in the next 5 years, I'd love to start doing campaigns for brands. Doesn't have to be necessarily fashion, but we'll say fashion as an example. I would love to be like, I like marketing and stuff, and I would love to be doing more of the creative side and creating ad campaigns and like being the guy that people call in and they're like, all right, we need to sell bathing suits.
Yeah.
What would you do for that? And I'm working alongside them to make an ad campaign work, because I think that stuff's so cool. Like being able to see like a picture on like a billboard or something like that,
Yeah, I agree.
would be like the coolest thing ever.
And you even get to like mess around with branding and like graphic design and like all the theming and
Yeah,
shit.
exactly. And like I've been in a position once before where like when you have people hitting you up about that and it's like a secret, I don't know, something about it, like it's like a secretive project, people don't know it's coming, and like you're sitting there making all the details and like all the calls for it. Like that's a fun feeling. Like building something from scratch like that is the best.
It's kind of like, obviously to a much less scale, but like, it's kind of like, bro, I haven't told anyone about this podcast.
Yeah.
Like like how I put the poll out for the you videographer like opportunity, like it was literally just like a simple poll. I didn't say like it was a podcast. Number one, because like I didn't want people to catch on, like be like, like Tony's starting a podcast, and like like he's probably trying to recruit videographers on the on the podcast. Like I'm gonna start doing it. I mean, obviously that's inevitable like once I release it, but like I wanted to keep it like under wraps. But I feel like if you just throw this out there, then now it'd be like, this is a finished, touched up podcast. People be like, holy shit, like I'm gonna. I think people would be more surprised and willing to watch it rather than if they knew already. And I think the same thing with branding. Like if you release a whole campaign out of nowhere, it's like it's such a big payoff too for you. It's like you get to see everything.
It's cool, bro. Like I don't know, like when you see something on Instagram, you see all these accounts like reposting like a release of something. It's just like a cool feeling, and I'm like, I would love to do that. But I think, like shooting a whole campaign would be awesome, and doing that regularly would be cool, because I think when it's like I see it more from like our side of the business, where it's like I see a campaign like one brand that I look up to a lot is Golf Wang, and Tyler the creator, and like his whole Golf Wang LaFleur brands and whatnot, and he just did one with Louis Vuitton, and his photographer, this guy, his name's Louis Perez. Beautiful images, bro. And so like when I see them being posted, like reposted on different accounts, and it's like blah blah blah, these images, here's the release, shot by Louis Perez, I'm sitting there, I'm just like, all right, bro, that's like, it's a little bit of recognition, but like that's what I would love, and like, and then just take the feedback where people are like, these are beautiful, and like having the images influence people's ability to buy or not buy a product. I think that would be really cool. So,
and you think you can, like, I know you're doing marketing right now for the law firms.
Yeah.
So I think you can apply a lot of that too to it.
100%. I mean, I got my degree was in film, but I had minors in marketing and sociology.
You were
so
a film
like,
major.
yeah.
Filmmaking BFA, or like what was it? Film arts BF?
Regular BA, yeah. Just, film studies and production, kind of useless, but
yeah. I mean, bro, I mean, it's all about the connections you make along the way. What you do with it, like. Bro.
I learned everything that they taught me in 4 years. I learned in one wedding.
Yeah.
And then the next 4 years were just sitting around.
The kids at the film school at Hofstra especially are like down there.
Strange birds, bro. Yeah, dude, that's the thing. It was like a joke because it was like they teach you the same lighting setups and stuff for 3 out of your 4 years.
Yeah, imagine like teaching everyone like all these like just robots like the same way how to do shit. It's like you don't get to grow creatively.
No,
you're still in a box.
No, yeah, and like you have one opportunity a semester to do like your own little project,
but
and that's
you're working with people that aren't ambitious.
No,
I feel like people that just aren't willing to put the work in. Like Keating, he's worked like I'm not saying Keating is this person. I'm saying he's worked with people like that, and he's complained about it.
Yeah.
It's like, bro, it's because of the types of people that are in the school. It's like they're not the type of people I want to personally be around and work with. I'd rather work with people that are just doing shit, hustling on the side.
Yeah, they're a bit of a some of them are they're a bit of a pain sometimes, but yeah, I mean like it was cool for what it was, you know, but yeah I wouldn't recommend going that route. Well, the thing is like especially nowadays like you can do what was your degree in?
Marketing.
Exactly, and what are you doing right now? You know what I mean? Like it's like you don't need your degree to do something like this.
Everything here was crafted by me and fucking camera.
Yeah.
And so it's like, bro, the Hofstra does not help me at all.
No, you don't need a degree to do this. So it's just like, you know, get a degree in something that's like good, that like interests you for sure and like fall back on, but you don't need it to do something like this.
Yeah, absolutely not.
Yeah.
And then final question to leave the people off with, what would be one piece of advice to people that want to get to your level? Like the one biggest thing to leave off with people?
Just do it. Like don't overthink anything that you want to do. Just do it. Like I ran into the problem for the longest time where like I would sit there and I have this idea and I would just fester on it and I would just like toss it and turn it into my head, and then I would never do it. Like I would just sleep on it for too long and it would just go away. And there's a really good book by Rick Rubin called The Creative Act that talks all about creativity and like how like the process of it and whatnot. And he says that like an idea exists and if you don't act on it, somebody else will. And it'll just go. The idea will go to the people who are going to act on it. And so I have just been very much of that mindset where it's just like, if I don't do something, somebody else is going to do it, and then I'm going to be upset that I didn't do it first. So just go out and do it. Don't give a fuck. Just do your thing. Like you're doing it for a reason. Just go have fun. You know, like
absolutely.
If you're going to say something that you're going to do it, do it. Like
I love that.
It's the easiest way to get people to rally behind you and to think that you're really somebody out there doing something. So.
I mean, bro, that's Nike's fucking motto. And you're working with Nike.
Yeah.
Might as well fucking get the fucking...
yo, call me up. Matt Smith, you know who you are. Call me up. But, bro, like, it's like, and I mean that, so, like, I have so many, like, I've got ideas and stuff that I'll definitely sit on for a bit, but, like, and that feeling, too, when you have an idea and you make it happen, nothing better in the world. Yeah. Like, that's just that sense of accomplishment. It's an instant gratification type thing. It's great in every sense of the word. So that's what I say. Go do it.
What exciting projects do you have coming up? Anything?
No, I'm kidding. No, I've honestly, I don't really actually have too much lined up at the moment. I'm going away. That's why at a bit at the end of the month. So I've kind of been keeping my schedule a little clear. But coming into August, I've got a few actually fun ideas that I might start pitching to brands pretty soon. So I'm just kind of getting everything set up for that and just like putting together some like, we'll call it proof of purchase shots, where I just kind of like using a friend. I'm like, this is insert your model here, but like this is the idea that we wanna run with. So we'll see how that goes, and then just got to finish out the rest of the summer and the basketball stuff with Nike, and I hope that goes well, and then enjoy vacations a little bit. So
absolutely. Where can people find you on socials?
You can find me at YBBBOR, 3 B's, and it's just my name backwards, or online at RobbyZacharias.com.
Appreciate you.
Yeah, man. Thank you for having me. Appreciate it.
Yeah, guys, stay tuned for the next episode because we're gonna keep bringing on creators, getting everyone's, like I said, everything, like it's so unique and like everyone's got their own thing going on.
Yeah.
Like, for example, you harped on like sports a lot. Fashion, like all these different perspectives working in the city, and it's like the next person you can have a whole different like thing working in somewhere else. So it's like there's so many different ways to grow, so many different ways to kind of pivot. So that's what's beautiful about this stuff. So
yeah, hearing people's stories.
Shout out to Nick. on camera for about how long? 3 hours?
Yeah.
3 hours. 3 hours and 15 minutes. Appreciate it. Yeah, guys. You guys, I don't know how to fucking end this.
Yeah, we'll be back next time.
We'll be back next time.
Yeah.
All right, yeah. That's it. That's a wrap. Gotta get a picture for the fucking gram.